hadn't started yet.
Oh. So all that talking we just did.
It's totally for naught.
So what was the viewer seeing? Oh, they were like, wait for...
Yeah.
Oh,
start.
that was...
Okay, but now it's broadcast.
Now it is broadcasting. I'm going to
Okay,
send this
to one
out
person.
to that one person. Hey there, one person. Probably Peter or Ben or Paige.
Somebody we know.
Yeah. Could be Tim.
Could be Tim. Hey, Tim.
Yep. Hey, Tim. Done. I could send this out to all my buddies on Google Plus, but I don't want to do that again.
Right.
Because I've done that. I did this one time before where I was like, I'm just gonna. It was a lazy day. I was at my house. There was nothing going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a hangout and see who wants to join in. And I thought that what happened was you start the hangout, you get it ready to go, and then you hit go, and then you're there and you're just hanging out, and people just jump in.
Well, what would they see though?
Like maybe they get a message that says like Sal's doing a public hangout. Like it'd be like a Google Plus post.
Right.
That's what I assumed it would be like.
Right.
Instead, it was a direct IM
Yeah.
to everyone in my contacts that said, "Hey,
We have 0 viewers.
goodbye."
Who's none of those people?
That's amazing.
Oh.
Well, anyway,
Put it in the
Does that show you how many people are watching?
it's whoa.
No.
Well,
We have 7 guests right now.
Oh.
Well, but it's including Tiffany and...
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh, those are people that I sent
Oh,
things to.
yeah. 7 invited guests.
Right.
okay.
This is needlessly confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Yeah, there's no way to do the chat. At least it doesn't look like it.
Now we have a viewer.
Oh,
Yay.
welcome
He
back.
came back.
Hey. He or she.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Or we can invite Sam.
Yeah, invite
Oh,
Sam.
yeah, invite
Why
Sam.
not, right?
Yeah, Sam might show up.
I can't monitor it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look at my...
Started.
Yeah, all right. So... Oh, yeah. Let me wrap up that really quick story about how, like... So, yeah, Google Hangouts sent everyone in my contacts a direct IM that was like, hey, man, what's up? And I got IMs from, like, people I never talked to who were like, hey, man, it's 7:30 at night. I don't have time to chat right now, but I'll talk to you later, maybe.
Oh my god.
And I was like, these are professionals in the comic industry who I'm, like, trying to have a rapport with and trying not to look like a fucking feed in front of, and failed miserably. So anyway,
for trying a new thing.
yeah, right. Thanks, Google, for your free bullshit service that is a miracle. Because it doesn't work exactly the way I assumed it would, based on no research. Anyway, if you're not familiar with the show, Back Issues is a show where I kind of just take the world of comics that I have immersed myself in over the last 30 years and share it with people who maybe aren't so familiar with that universe. Typically, if you catch any previous episode of Back Issues, we do like a story or a event or a character, and I kind of explain it, and we follow the logic threads that are put forth by the non-comic readers. Because they ask questions I found that regular comic readers just don't ask. Usually because if we do, it makes us not like comics. If I start to pull the thread of Spider-Man or the Avengers, it just totally pulls apart the sweater, and there's no way to get it back. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can never go home again.
Well, I think it's also partly like at a certain point you get used to the style of comics.
That's
and
the
how
thing.
Things are done in comics, and you stop questioning it.
I found, I think,
Because it doesn't seem weird anymore.
as a kid, I did ask a lot of questions, but then as I went into adolescence and adulthood, I realized they were never going to answer those questions. And I realized that it was either going to be time to... I should either get used to it or get out.
Right.
And, you know...
And here we are.
Here we are.
Evidently.
But I like these questions because it allows me to... There's ever-present context. There's always context for something that's going on that needs to be explained. It's never just like, oh, well, this happened, and it's a very simple explanation. Like, oh, where do the Infinity Gems come from? Well, it just goes on and on. So, today, I figure we use an approachable character, Spider-Man, using a huge event in the 90s for Spider-Man.
I've never heard of this event.
It's a
Yeah.
Spider-Man Torment.
Apparently it's huge.
Well, it was huge in 1991.
Yeah.
And then it kind of stayed that way. Okay. So Spider-Man Torment was birthed from the rise of the superstar artist, which was the artist that sold comics. Like, it used to be, you'd have really, really great artists who did the work, but particularly in, like, DC, those artists facilitated the characters they worked on. And it wasn't that, like, their name was attached to the book, even though it was, there would be credits, but it wasn't, nobody read the book because so-and-so was drawing it.
Right.
As it turns out,
because they wanted to read a book about that.
Yeah.
about Captain Marvel or Superman.
Yeah.
As it turns out, in like the 70s and 80s, that kind of gained more prevalence, and people were like, "Oh shit, George Perez is drawing this book," or "Oh my god, like John Byrne is drawing Fantastic Four, and I have to get in on this."
Do you think that's because the art got better?
I think it has to be. Yeah, I would almost argue that like the superstar artist, phenomena didn't exist until probably the 90s, and I say that like late 80s, early 90s because, like, yeah. It's for that reason, and because I found that, like, people love, or at least they purport to love, classic artists like Steve Ditko, who helped create and design Spider-Man for the first time, and Doctor Strange, and a couple other, like, mainstay Marvel characters. But, like, but his style is very dated, and it's really, really ultra stylized, but it's like, and that's cool, and you appreciate it as, like, a fan of the medium, and as a fan of art in general, but for the most part, like, it's not as good as John Byrne, let's say. And I would get harangued for saying that. And for being like, oh, I don't think that Steve Ditko is as good an artist as John Byrne. Well, you know what? John Byrne knows anatomy. So technically he is a little better.
Right.
But maybe if Steve Ditko had been, born in the 60s instead of being an artist in the 60s, he might be different. It might be better.
Right.
It's just the style at the time. And even then, by the way, like Ditko, I actually picked a really crappy example because Ditko was really, really transcendental in his art. And he was doing new things, and he was giving you something you kind of hadn't seen before. Although, there's a guy, Neil Adams, and he drew Batman. He's the guy who, like, drew, like, the blue Batman. Like, he's the guy who helped, like, create and design Ra's al Ghul.
Did he make the car with a bat head on it?
No, that was that was like the 40s and 50s. That was just, we need to get a fucking Plymouth, but put a, no, not a Plymouth, like a Packard, but put a big bat
There
on
aren't
it.
enough bats in Batman.
Yeah.
So
I get that he's Batman, he has a bat on the chest, but why is
How are
this
they gonna know he's Batman when he drives
when
up?
he's driving around? By the way, in like the 30s when Batman first came on the scene and he wore little purple gloves, he just drove like a Studebaker. Like, it was just, and it's like
his car.
it's just his car, and it's so funny because it's Batman in a fucking Batman costume. Because like, costume hasn't changed much in 75 years.
Right.
But he's just in his little car, and he's like, there's Dr. Death's hideout, and you're like, but you're just in a car. It's like, yeah, well, how else is he gonna get there? And it wasn't until much
knock
later.
on the door, and when he answers, I'll
I'll
arrest
punch him in the face. But it was, it couldn't. They hadn't quite gotten to the point where they were like, well, he'll just swing across the city skyline, with a batarang, and he'll drive a car in the shape of a bat. They didn't quite get there yet.
Yeah, that was
absurd. It didn't take them very long.
Where would he get such a car?
I think it was probably like Bill Finger drew the first like Packard that he just drew, and he's like, this is boring. Maybe he could. You know what? I want to say that was probably a Bob Kane decision. Bob Kane's the guy who was like, I created Batman. Fuck all you. He was the Frank Sinatra of comics, but minus the talent.
Right.
Like, I can say that because he's dead now. But Bob Kane did everything he could to bury his partner and co-creator Batman, Bill Finger. Bill Finger was like the guy. Bob Kane's like Batman. He's gonna be a guy, and he's got like tools and shit. And Bill Finger's like, maybe he should look like a bat. And Bob Kane's like, all right, we'll do it your way today, Bill. And and then when Bill Finger was buried by the industry, Bob Kane's like, I created Batman and everything about him, and fuck you. It was just like he was like the first comic crooner. So anyway, I would guarantee that Bob Kane's like, make the car a bat. Make it a bat. Put a bat everything. The Bat Cave, I don't get it. It's on the shape of a bat. There's no bats all over the place. Well, no, he's in a cave. The bats live in the cave. All right, I'll give you this one, Bill. You were right about the costume. So yeah, the Batmobile had that. So Neil Adams was like in this, like he kind of got his start in like the '60s, but he was drawing like the way comics are drawn today back
Really?
then. Like he was
What
fucking.
did he draw?
He drew Batman.
Oh.
I mean, he also drew like murder mystery comics and like
Did
pulpy
he
kind of stuff.
Did he go like? Did he do unique panel stuff, or was he still in the
It was always a grid like box structure. No, nobody really broke out of the panels, but he was always drawing it very like cinematically. He was very unique and ahead of the times with that. I think it's why his work has remained, even though Neil Adams himself has gotten worse as an artist as he's gotten older, which like is gonna happen as you do.
Yeah.
The guy really like. Well, because he's old, he's like, it's gonna be shaky and his eye's gonna go. And, like,
Oh no!
Because he's dying.
Because he's dying, his body is shutting down, it's falling apart.
He's not gonna last much longer.
Yeah.
Like,
He's actually not that old. Like,
He's saying he's like the Matisse of the comic book world.
Yeah,
Like, in his life,
exactly.
he's just gonna be doing paper cuttings and slapping them down in
yeah, he's gonna be
panels.
like,
all
fuck
you
it, I'll ride my own coattails. It's like a circle. It's like poetry, it rhymes. So anyway, Neil Adams drew Batman, like really new shit, but like during the time that Steve Ditko was drawing Spider-Man. So like Steve Ditko drew comics kind of like the way you expect to see comics drawn, which is like by today's standards a step ahead of crude.
What's crude?
Like crude being like
Crude. I was. CROD. Like that's another guy.
Oh.
Like just above crude.
Yeah, Tom Crude.
Yeah.
Was not very good, as you would imagine. But yeah, so so the superstar artists, like I would imagine, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, people going like, yeah, the guys who are doing things today, John Romita Sr.'s pretty good, but I prefer the Ditko era. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't. You're a fucking liar. You don't prefer the Ditko era.
It's
like,
just familiar to you.
Yeah, and it's also like no one's saying that. It was like it's like what a hipster thing to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the late 80s, early 90s, then people started like, for the most part, comics have become kind of cookie cutter as far as art was concerned, mainstream comics.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were drawing, like the typical, like everyone is buff and everyone has like this very standard, anatomy. And so but these guys, these upstarts who would eventually form Image, they were drawing things extremely exaggerated or hyper stylized, just very different, really cool. It really appealed to, at the time, contemporary comic readers. And one such young buck was Todd McFarlane. And Todd McFarlane jumped on Spider-Man. I think he also drew the Hulk. But he jumped on Spider-Man.
The Hulk in that era used like ropes and stuff.
No, the Hulk was
Everywhere.
his Hulk was like his face was very distinct. He looked like a Frankenstein's monster, but with big biceps. I think he helped design the Hulk that was the Mr. Fix-It era, which was like, all right, when the Hulk was first created, he was gray. But
yeah, I've seen Gray Hulk.
yeah, and
it's
that
really confusing.
when he was first created, he was gray, and it didn't pop on the cover as much.
No.
So Lee went, make it green. Green is a good color.
That sounds like something
Yeah,
People like green.
we call him
Why
a
did you
genius
make it
today, but he's making exactly the same decisions he was making
Yeah.
back then.
Why did you decide Hulk should be green and not other characters?
Right.
You like
Yeah.
green so much.
Yeah.
Why this one suddenly green.
Yeah,
No,
just
green.
well, it
I'm
was
feeling
green.
green today. Make them green.
Green's a good, it pops.
Yeah.
So, and when they got the book back, it kind of like was a muddled green. He's like, it kind of looks gray, yeah. And then they made it green the rest of the time. But like, kind of as a throwback, every once in a while they would bring out this character, Grey Hulk, which was like, I think they tried to actually retcon it into continuity where like there was a period when Hulk was gray, and when Hulk is gray, he has his intelligence but not his like conscience, so he's like kind of a dick. Like Grey Hulk is not like Hulk smash, like Caveman Hulk.
Mhm.
He can speak articulately in complete sentences,
Douchebag.
but he's also kind of a douche.
Right.
And so McFarlane came on and helped create Mr. Fix-It Hulk. And I call him Mr. Fix-It because that was his self-proclaimed moniker when he was Grey Hulk. And he's like, fuck being a superhero and fuck being a scientist and fuck dealing with the military and my girlfriend and shit. I'm just going to be like a bouncer. I'm going to be a mob enforcer.
What?
And I'm going to call myself Mr. Fix-It and I'm going to solve problems because I'm the
Wow.
Hulk. And he wore like a tuxedo. And he's like, yeah,
A
I'm
giant tuxedo.
a giant tuxedo, a
Ant-Man.
custom-made tuxedo on
Yeah.
the Hulk. And he's like, I'm Mr. Fix-It. And you're like,
I don't understand. What was he fixing?
he was fixing
Yeah.
problems.
What problems?
Like problems that arise from, in disreputable business. Like the way Tony the noose might solve a problem.
Ah.
Mr. Fix-It came and
just
he also
a
solved problems.
mobster.
Yeah, he was kind of just a douche. And I don't even know if he was a mobster. I don't recall if he was a mobster or if he was like a...
Like, did people hire him to do
things,
things, jobs?
he took care of things. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like Mr. Wolf from Pulp Fiction. Like, I solved
Okay.
problems.
Okay.
Alright.
So, but McFarlane kind of made his bones in Marvel on that. And then he jumped in to do Spider-Man with David Michelin or Michelin. I'm so sorry.
I guess it depends on how French you're gonna be.
I think I'm. By the way, neither of those pronunciations is correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's French.
Michelin, doesn't matter. But like David Michelin, he wrote Spider-Man at the time, and he helped like McFarlane kind of like create Venom, and McFarlane's style kind of really took its own, like came into its own towards the end of his run with Michelin, and during the rise of Todd McFarlane becoming a superstar artist. Now these are all the prefaces that lead to the fact that McFarlane became a big name in Marvel, and people were buying Spider-Man books because they want to see more McFarlane art. I gotta see more of that
I
McFarlane
can see why,
art.
because this is insane.
It
You open
is
this book,
insane.
you're
It is.
like, duh.
You've
It's a
never,
mess.
and by the way, like how you read comics today, or I've shown you comics from like the 80s and stuff, and it's pretty standard grids,
Yeah.
boxes. The
Yep.
characters are all in those boxes, and then you have this where it's like boosh, and the
Yeah.
characters are like yeah, and they got
Yeah.
big fucking hair.
Yeah,
and
where
freaking
one
out.
thing
you can
ends
see every
and
pore in their
fucking ends.
skin. Yeah,
You
like
don't even know what's happening.
Yeah. there was
in
places
Torment, there's
I-
no fucking way to
I
find
have
out what's
no
happening.
idea.
Now,
sometimes.
people are like, I gotta get me some of that
I know,
McFarlane.
That's a
what-
cover, right?
Yeah,
So-
no, that's a fucking double page splash reveal.
What is even
Why does it
happening
say
there?
Torment on the side?
Because that's
this
the
is-
inside of the comic.
Because they
Every
didn't put the cover in. I
yeah,
guess.
it's a collection of 6 issues of this book, and so the first page always says the title of the story arc.
In case you
and the
forgot
credits. Oh,
from
so
about
that's-
20 pages
so
ago
that's the first
what you were
page.
reading.
That's the
Yeah.
first page
But when
of
you open
that
up
next
the
issue.
cover,
That's right, yeah.
um,
So people are like, I gotta get me some of that McFarlane art, and McFarlane knew this, and so he's like, he used that leverage and clout to leverage his own book, where he's like, you know what, I'm tired of telling other people's stories. I want to do my own stories about Spider-Man.
Where I write it.
Where I write it.
Even though
I'll write it, even though I don't write and I don't know how.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
clearly does it. I read the first 3 pages of this. It's garbage.
Such garbage. So they said, okay, and by that point, the titles that were Spider-Man by Marvel were Amazing Spider-Man, which was the longest-running Spider-Man title. Then in the 70s, they introduced Spectacular Spider-Man, which was sometimes called Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, but it's all the same book. So you had Amazing
Did it run
Spider-Man. and-
concurrently?
Yeah, they ran concurrently, and sometimes the same author would write those stories, and they would come out kind of like staggered. So like you'd always get a Spider-Man book, and it would always take place in the same story.
Whoa.
But why didn't they just write more of the Amazing Spider-Man?
Well, I think that at least at the, I feel like, because I know they did this later, but I feel like at the time they were like, there's different tones that are going on in these books.
Oh.
With Amazing Spider-Man, you're going to get a Spider-Man story, and it's going to be like the most well-rounded story you could get. With Spectacular Spider-Man, we're going to try something different. You know, we're going to tell a story maybe from another character's perspective, or from we're going to try something new in terms of how we tell the
But
story.
they were all happening at the same time?
Same time, same continuity. Sometimes they would like part 1 would be in Amazing, and then part 2 would be in Spectacular.
Oh.
But because you bought these books, like you didn't care. That
Right.
wasn't really confusing.
Right.
And then in the 80s, they introduced Web of Spider-Man. And at that point, there was no discernible difference between any of these titles. It was
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Web of Spider-Man.
And the name just determined what week it came out.
That's right. And maybe who was drawing it.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
So when McFarlane finally got the leverage he needed to get his own title, they gave him Spider-Man. No adjectives,
Just-
no describers,
wow.
Spider-Man.
Because
Wow.
he probably threatened to leave.
Oh yeah. And eventually he would.
Yeah.
But
Eventually no amount of...
yeah, of titles and terrible
He would have
stories.
whatever he wanted.
Yeah. Well, because he needed to tell the Spawn stories.
Right, and they wouldn't do
And they wouldn't. No, there's no way. Also, he needed to be anything. By the way, if you work for a company like DC or Marvel, anything you create under contract for them belongs to that company.
Right.
You create Venom.
So there's no point in him creating.
Exactly. There's no reason to be
Right.
creative because like you don't get anything and no residuals. Yeah. And Venom became a huge breakaway character when McFarlane helped create him, and he's never seen a cent for that money.
Wow.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thus beginneth Torment. McFarlane was like, I want to tell a kind of off the fucking wall story. Forgive the pun. Of Spider-Man. And the story of Torment is, it implies, okay, all right, Spider-Man is a young, recently married, newlywed guy. He works for the Daily Bugle. He takes freelance photographs of Spider-Man, and he's the freewheeling, like, happy-go-lucky superhero that we all know and love. That's how the book opens, and immediately we meet some people who are utterly disposable and murdered by the Lizard. Now, if you've seen Amazing Spider-Man the movie, you're a little bit familiar at least with the Lizard. The Lizard is the alter ego of a doctor named Dr. Kurt Connors, who when he was first created lost his arm, I think in Nam. Okay. But later on, they kind of retconned that like maybe he lost it in a war or in a battle, and sometimes in different incarnations he loses it like from an accident. Okay. But in any case, this biologist / geneticist, Dr. Kirk Connors, he loses his arm, and he's desperate to grow it back. And rather than do prosthetics or anything like that, he experiments with lizard DNA, and he injects himself with it, and he grows his arm back, but it also takes hold of him and turns him into a giant lizard. And when he is a giant lizard, sometimes the lizard part of his brain will take over and will want him to kill warm-blooded creatures or turn warm-blooded creatures into lizards.
Large insects.
Yeah. Spider-Man fights the lizard
for the rock and warm yourself.
Funny enough, Lizard most of the time spends his time in the sewers, which is the least warm place he could possibly go. Yeah, but it's slimy, and lizards are slimy because I'm an idiot and I write comics. So, the Lizard, who, by the way, very much like a Jekyll and Hyde, the Hulk and Bruce Banner kind of thing. But
so he goes in between.
Dr. Kirk Connors is a good guy, friend of Spider-Man's, and but the Lizard is a vicious, mindless enemy of Spider-Man as well.
Now, does he choose when he turns into the Lizard?
No, the Lizard will take hold of him. He's always in a constant struggle to keep the monster at bay. And the Lizard has a family. He has a
the Lizard has a family?
Well, you know, Dr. Kirk Connors has a family. He has a wife and a son. And that's always a point of contention. Usually Spider-Man uses that to, think of your wife, think of your son Billy, and he's like,
right.
He's like, no, you're right, and he turns back into Kirk Connors.
Unless, of course, Billy came home with an F, and then he's like, fuck Billy!
Spoilers! In the last 10 years or so, the Lizard ate Billy.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The Lizard was created in like 1968 or 70 something, and like forever it's been like poor my son Billy, and the poor I think Martha is his wife's name. Poor Martha Connors is like stays with him for a good long time. Like she's like, my husband, he doesn't want to be the Lizard. Oh yeah, they know.
I think you'd have to know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're having dinner and then something goes wrong. He's like, bah! And he just jumps in the window, and they're like, oh shit. I guess he's the Lizard. But like eventually Martha gets divorces Connors during a cogent moment. Yeah, he ate his son.
He can do him to deal with custody then, right?
It's horrifying. Yeah, and later, he actually uses. No, you just eat your kid. It's so much easier.
Just eat your kid.
So in this story, the Lizard mindlessly kills some people in an alley.
Okay.
And Spider-Man sees a photo of the grisly scene in the newspaper. Okay. But he has, since you can't photograph dead bodies and put them on the front page of your paper, instead they got a creepy message that was written in blood on the wall, and it's essentially it says Connors. So it's like the lizard is trying to like find his humanity, but he's being like, you know, taken over by the animalistic side of him.
Okay.
Peter Parker immediately recognizes. It's, by the way, it's CNRS.
Oh.
So you're like, what? Spider-Man immediately is like, Connors! Oh, it must be the lizard. I've got to go find Dr. Kirk Connors and save him from being the lizard.
Wow.
Makes like huge leaps in logic and judgment. Bizarre.
It's because it's written by an artist.
By Todd McFarlane, who's like, whatever, I don't have time for that. I got to show the lizard being awesome.
Yeah.
There's a theme, if you could call it that runs throughout this whole book, where where Spider-Man is rising above it all. The opening to every new issue of Torment is a horribly assembled narrative that has to end with it saying "rise above it all." I don't know why that is. I've been reading this book for 20 years, and I still have no fucking idea why that is so important. But if you look at it,
yeah, rise above it all.
Yep, it's every damn new
It's
chapter.
at the end of the book.
It's at the beginning of every new chapter. So,
Why isn't
There
it
you
called
go.
Spider-Man Rise?
Yeah. That
I don't
been
know.
Great.
well, because he's being tormented,
And
as
then
it
that would
turns out.
make
But he's
sense
got to
too.
rise above it all.
He's gotta rise
He's got to
above it
rise
all.
above the torment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
So,
you do.
Spider-Man catches up with the lizard, but the lizard, usually the lizard can say things, and the lizard's like, blah, Spider-Man, no, like, I'll never fight you, like, get away from me.
You'll never get me.
Yeah, you'll never get me. Like, Connors is mine, man. Like, but in this case, the lizard is a mindless monster, which is actually a way better use of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lizard seems kind of cool.
Well, yeah, if you did like a Jekyll and Hyde.
Well, especially there. I mean,
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah. The lizard scratches Spider-Man.
Oh.
What is this pink stuff?
That's blood.
That's
Yeah,
blood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, it has to be blood here because he's red already,
he's
so you
red,
couldn't
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
it's
I
the
get.
same
was
color
wondering, 'cause
red.
he- like, he's
Because as
kinda
I was
like
explaining to
pink on
Ethan
the-
earlier,
Yeah.
they're using the 4-color print method.
That's what most people use.
Yeah, but like this is where it's like if you look really closely, everything's made up of dots.
Yeah, I think what I noticed the most is that there are two different blacks they're using,
Mm-hmm.
and it's driving me up the wall. Like there are points. It's on this page.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
like Spider-Man's eyes are like one black, and then there's like Shadow, which is a different black.
Yep.
So it looks like he's wearing a
Oh.
blacker eye.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really weird and distracting.
The
but-
thing that Marvel did that during this era that really irks me is when you have a black character, but all the highlights are blue.
Yeah.
So you're like, is it a blue suit?
Right.
Right, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going because I want to get to this chick with
Right.
eyes on
Gotta
her
get to
boobs.
that. So the lizard scratches Spider-Man, and we never get a definitive answer about it, but he surmises, yes, there it is, that his claws have been poisoned. And so Spider-Man is fatigued and being ever worn down by the ensuing poison that is circulating through his blood.
You said it's never proven?
Like, there's never a scene where the lizard's like, he dips his
Okay.
claws in
right,
poison,
okay.
nor does the lizard's captor slash puppeteer, yes, say, I had his fingers poisoned, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Okay, okay.
There's actually not much said at all in this.
No!
I noticed that
There's so
too.
many-
There's almost
hardly
no
any speech
dialogue.
bubbles.
Yeah.
There's all these like narrative
Oh, yeah.
bubbles.
That's from the omniscient narrator who says really trite things.
Yeah, and it's like that's what literally 90%, maybe more than 90% of the words in this book are in narrative boxes.
Yes.
That is goddamn insane.
It is and actually, it's funny because you're almost like, maybe they did it on purpose, but you know they didn't.
No, it's just
the
that, like,
book is about going insane. Like,
right.
Spider-Man is... it's constantly raining. I believe it's
Yeah.
really hot. But like...
He's
like
tired, he's sweaty.
a summer rainstorm is awful, especially if you're stuck in it.
Yeah.
And it's in Manhattan, so you're like, you can never escape it.
Yeah.
And you're in this one suit costume,
Yeah.
and you have
Right.
poison running through your veins,
Right.
and there's this unkillable, unstoppable lizard monster that wants to kill you, and it won't explain
So
why.
he's having a shitty day.
He's having a crazy day, and the longer it goes, the more crazy he starts to feel.
Yeah.
And you can't have a Marvel comic without some page time being dedicated to explaining the shit that's going on. So naturally, there's a scene where he says, "This doesn't make any sense. Dr. Kirk Connors was just a simple biologist, and then one day he experimented with lizard DNA and became the lizard." Like, he has to explain all this shit. There's actually a scene where he says, "This is almost as terrible as the day that my Uncle Ben was killed by that murderer that burglar that I should have stopped when I had the chance." And there's a flashback, and you're like, and it's actually, I welcome those moments because it's a brief respite from this insanity. Because it's also Todd McFarlane unhinged.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane has a writer. He has an editor. He has people telling him you got to do different things. This is supposed to be
It's like Todd himself is going crazy throughout the book.
exactly. Yeah. So at one point, Spider-Man's trying to get the lizard off him. He kicks him, and the lizard lands on a spike, and it goes through his chest. And you're like, "Oh shit! Spider-Man just killed the lizard."
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with Spider-Man at all, Spider-Man does not kill.
Right.
So he is like beside himself.
Yeah.
And then he looks again, and the lizard's gone.
Oh shit.
And he's like, "Am I going crazy? Is the lizard really there?"
What's happening to me?
Yes, he screams.
There's blood on the thing.
There is blood on the thing. Now, the subplot, if you could call it that, is what Mary Jane, Spider-Man's new bride, is doing.
Well, and she looks
which is just
fantastic.
Her hair is
great. She's 90s-tastic.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because normally what happens, like, okay, there was the big Spider-Man story that took place right before this was Kraven's Last Hunt. That's like the most recent, that's like the most ever-present big story that took place in Spider-Man at the time.
And what's a Kraven?
Kraven is an old-school Spider-Man villain created in the 60s who's one of the founding members of the Sinister Six.
Oh.
And he is a Russian. He is ambiguously old, but in amazing shape.
Okay.
His name is Sergei Kravenov, who is also known as Kraven the Hunter. He's a crazy Russian hunter who finds Spider-Man to be like the ultimate prey. And he also can.
He's hunted men.
He's hunted men and the great beasts of Africa, and now he's at the greatest jungle of all, Manhattan. And
concrete jungle.
Yeah, the concrete jungle. I'm sure there isn't a single issue where Kraven appears where they don't call it a concrete jungle. So, Kraven the Hunter, he was a silly, formidable foe for Spider-Man, but he's more or less just a guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what makes him so formidable?
Yeah. Well, later on, they kind of retcon him that Kraven the Hunter has super endurance and super strength, and he can control animals. Not with his mind, just like he goes like, "Oh, Beastie, you will calm down, and now you will fight Spider-Man." Like, it's kind of like, okay.
It's like the Dog Whisperer.
Yeah, he's more like the Dog Whisperer, because he's not like a mentalist. He doesn't have the powers of persuasion on animals. But
is he like Crocodile Dundee?
He's like, he's like Crocodile fucking Dundee, only Russian and stupid.
That would have been cooler. If he came in.
So, later on, they realized, I believe, J.M. DeMatteis realized. And if you're not familiar with J.M. DeMatteis, he's a seminal Spider-Man author. He is writing Justice League 2000 right now, 3000 right now, by DC Comics. Awesome guy. We interviewed him at New York Comic Con. Go to youtube.com/TVLittleHouse. Check out that interview on our YouTube channel. It's a terrific interview. Tiffany talks to him for like 25 minutes. He's so funny.
Oh, he's great. Awesome. He's a really great guy. He really knows
he wrote Kraven's Last Hunt, and I think what happened was he goes, nobody's doing anything with Kraven, and I think we can all agree we've told all the Kraven the Hunter stories we can.
Right. Someone tells last one.
Someone tells last one. Okay. And Kraven the Hunter is like, I have been beaten by Spider-Man so many times, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. So he's like, I have to just destroy the spider. So, and normally, the Kraven the Hunter has, this, code, he's like, I'm not going to kill you, I'm just going to defeat you.
Okay.
It's that kind of thing.
Not much of a hunter.
Well, he hunts him, and then he lets him go. So he's more like a fisherman.
Catch and release.
Yeah. So, in the Kraven the Hunter story, Kraven, catches Spider-Man, he hits him with a dart that, renders him fucked up, and then he throws a net at him and he shoots him with a gun, but it also has a trank dart in it. But you don't know that. When it happens in the story, he shoots Spider-Man, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then he buries Spider-Man and fucking, creates a grave for him, and then Kraven jumps into a room full of spiders and eats them all, and he's like, I'm Spider-Man, and he puts on a Spider-Man costume, and he goes into the city, and he starts, because he's like, I have defeated Spider-Man, now I have to become him. And so he goes out into the world, and he's just beating the shit out of people as Spider-Man. And Spider-Man spends, I think, 2 weeks buried alive.
Wow.
And then but because he's Spider-Man and he's like,
Right.
he has his increased stamina and healing factor and whatnot, he doesn't die. He climbs out of his gravesite. He goes and finds his recently married wife, Mary Jane, and he's like, hey, I gotta go beat the shit out of Kraven. And Kraven,
and she was looking for.
and throughout the whole story, she is pining for him. She's like, I know he's Spider-Man, and I love him for it, but it's so scary, and I'm all by myself. And at the time, there's another character named Vermin, who's like a rat man, and he's like fucking up people, and it's scary. So she's like tormented by that. But for the most part, Mary Jane spends the whole book like worrying about where Peter is.
Right.
And at the end of the story, just to wrap it up for Kraven, Kraven fucking Spider-Man beats the shit out of him, and he's like, oh, I've lost, I have failed. So he goes back into his house and he shoots himself in the face with a shotgun.
Oh.
He's like, I have failed, I am the
Alright,
prey,
that makes
goodbye.
Why didn't he just kill Spider-Man?
Because
He tried to. He buried him in the ground.
he did bury him in the ground.
I guess
Buried him in the
honor.
ground.
He
Yeah.
lost.
Honor.
Yeah.
He lost.
Because like he didn't he just
Yeah, but he's saying, like, why didn't he just shoot him and bury him in the ground?
Yeah, why did he bury him?
Like,
in
why
the
did he
ground?
bury him if he didn't kill
Why
him?
did he leave? Yeah, like
Yeah.
he clearly wanted him to die.
I don't know, maybe it
Right.
had something to do with eating those spiders, like
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some of them were fucking Black Widows and it really addled his brain.
He's been eating spiders for weeks, man.
Yeah. If
Nothing
you
but
eat
spiders.
nothing but rooms full of spiders,
Yeah.
it will make you make questionable decisions.
That
So
in itself is a question.
yeah, who got him all those spiders? He's immersed.
He
It's like
hunted them.
yeah,
got them
he hunted
all.
every single one. Okay, excellent. Another
Yeah,
one.
you
For
put 'em in a
another
room.
success for
He
Kraven.
put,
in
he
the
put
last
them in
30
a
years.
jar with a stick and a leaf to simulate its natural habitat.
Like he dives in like Scrooge McDuck's money bin. He's like, rah, 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 and you're like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Until Torment. So
Awesome.
Kraven the Hunter shoots himself in the head, and thus endeth the saga of Kraven the Hunter. In this story, McFarlane is like, I think McFarlane actually was like, he was just like, I don't care about Mary Jane, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So she stays at home and she bitches about how Spider-Man's doing his own thing. And the editor at the time, who I don't recall who it was, it might be Tom DeFalco, but I don't remember. He's like, no, make Mary Jane, like, have fun. Because when Mary Jane was first created, like, she was a fun-loving, like, alley cat. She was doing all kinds of fun stuff and hitting up parties and just, generally having a good time. So she's at home and she's like, Spider-Man's probably out there, or Peter's probably out there being Spider-Man. He's probably in danger. I could stay at home and worry about him all day, but you know what? I'm not. So Mary Jane goes club hopping throughout the story.
Okay.
So that's what she does, and she's like just trying to have a good time and just push the worry for Peter out of her mind. And she does it by dancing the night away.
Okay.
And that's what she does in that story. That's why you see her every once in a while having a nice
she's
tastic
like-
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His hair's like.
Yeah, and your hair is like 8 feet
Well, it's
fucking wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you go to the club, you
It just.
gain about 3
Yeah.
pounds of hair.
Yeah. The more clubs you visit, the bigger.
Yeah.
That's why you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
Spider-Man.
She's having a good time. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Spider-Man.
And he's being tormented.
Yeah, well, he's being tormented.
Mad.
So eventually, the poison.
Okay. Yeah.
Takes
I was gonna say,
over.
what is the torment?
The torment is the poison takes hold,
Okay.
and he collapses in garbage in an alley. And then when he wakes up, he sees the dead corpse of Kraven the Hunter and the lizard, and he's like, "Oh, I'm clearly freaking out right now." And as it turns out, this whole thing is,
Yeah.
and I love the image, I love the visual that McFarlane creates, where it's the fucking hole
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
blew in his own head. I'm like, this is cool. This is cool. And it's something that I never would have seen in any other
I don't know if
comic
that
book.
actually worked, but
Well, in any case, check it out.
yeah, it is.
So
It's
it is
not
something
real.
else.
He's seen it.
It's a hallucination.
Okay.
In point of fact, Spider-Man is being tormented by a character we've never seen, nor will we ever see again, named Calypso. And Calypso is Kraven the Hunter's. She's gonna crab. She's not actually unlike the Calypso from those awful Pirates
I guess that
movies.
would make sense. To
Yeah.
some
But
degree.
in this case, Calypso is a former lover of Kraven the Hunter's,
Oh.
whom he left in the old country, and then came back. Like she comes back she comes to the United States to find him, and she finds out that he's dead, and it's because of Spider-Man.
Okay.
So she,
Kind of.
by the way, she's not Russian. She is.
She's something.
She is,
Yeah.
and she uses voodoo, so I have to assume that she's
So
involved.
she's not really from
She's
the old
probably
country.
Caribbean.
Well, she's
Yeah.
I mean the
Or
old
someone else's.
woman from her
I
old
apologize
country.
if that's not
Yeah.
racially
I think she's
cultural.
Caribbean or something to that effect. But but she uses a blood sacrifice
Mhm.
to gain control over the magics.
I'm sorry, a blood sacrifice.
I believe she kills her own sister.
Oh.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah. It's very unclear and kind of
hardcore.
vague, but there's a scene where she's like, Spider-Man, you seem confused, and he's like, what? And she's like, let me explain my entire convoluted origin. I used to bang Kraven the Hunter, then I went back to my old country, and I killed my sister, and I got control over magic, and then I came back here. I found out Kraven was killed by himself because of you, so I decided to wait a while, and now I'm going to get my revenge by taking control over the lizard, and he's like my pet, and I'm gonna kill you now. And then Spider-Man.
Kill you with it.
So Spider-Man like fights the lizard a bunch.
Oh, yeah. She killed her younger sister.
There you
Okay.
go.
Does anyone else find it really hard to believe that Kraven the Hunter had a girlfriend and then left said girlfriend?
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
The man eats spiders
Yeah.
by the room
You think
full.
you might
Yeah.
want to stick with her. I don't care if she's so crazy she'd kill her sister. You kind of beggars can't be choosers, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like nothing else happens, and then
Yeah,
Spider-Man
nothing's going on. He's just
standing
there the whole time, and there's
He's-
all this like thoughts.
Well,
I guess.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, there's lots of thoughts.
Literally, here's a really quick summary of the plot. Spider-Man goes out web swinging. He runs into the lizard. The lizard scratches him. Then this chick shows up. She says she's Kraven's ex-girlfriend, and then a drop of gasoline lands in some fire that she has in this warehouse that she set up in. It explodes. The lizard's gone. Calypso's gone, and Spider-Man survives. The end. That took 6 issues. It's literally all that happens.
So he doesn't actually like defeat her or anything?
He doesn't defeat her at all.
What the fuck?
But we do see
prances around.
she prances around, she torments him by like mocking him, and then he's like, enough! And then like he knocks over some things that incidentally cause an
So
explosion.
it's a spaz, and then
So he spazzes
He
out.
spazzes out.
I do like that she's wearing Kraven's outfit, but
Yes.
Kraven has eyes on his vest, which means that they are right on her boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
eye.
Yeah.
There you go.
In the comics, Kraven, the eyes on his vest are in the same place, and they shoot like lightning. Or electricity.
Do her boobs shoot electricity?
No, I think that's just a very flimsy outfit.
Yeah, this is more like for effect.
Yeah, it's more an homage.
I can
Than,
imagine parents going
yeah.
insane over this book if they ever saw it.
I don't think they ever saw it.
Seriously,
Because this
yeah.
is kind of like a turning point for comics.
It's really gross.
It's really gross and weird.
Yeah.
It's a turning point for comics, but it says Spider-Man on the cover, so why would I check it?
Right.
But look at it.
What is
Look at
the?
the cover. He's on this like really like hyper detailed icky web with spiders crawling around.
Yeah. You
It
know what's
looks
funny about
really
that?
Unsettling.
That image, McFarlane will use multiple times in the future. There's a Spawn cover where Spawn is literally doing that exact same pose.
Huh.
May I just
Finger
say,
positioning it and everything.
it's
Wow.
really good that Spider-Man wears a mask because when he's drawing Peter
Oh
Parker,
my god.
it is
Awful.
terrible, hideous.
Look at this one.
I know.
His face is all like.
Yeah, it's really
I
terrible.
have a flat face.
Yep.
He can't draw a person. He can only draw a character.
Yes,
Yeah.
he can draw
He can draw a
Mary
crazy
Jane's-
Spawn.
yeah, or a lizard.
She's not.
Mary
yeah,
Jane's not too bad. Like his chicks are way stronger than
Yeah.
his males.
Yeah.
Silly because he'd
Unless
rather
you
see
put
those.
unless you put a mask on him,
Right.
which makes sense why
Yeah.
he did Spawn decently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I should
Yeah.
say it before someone.
Yeah, and it's not even like a.
Why does it say Marvel Comics M? Is that
Let
any
me see.
different? There's like an M at the bottom of the comics.
That used to be Marvel Comics logo. Marvel
With an
Comics
M at the
logo
bottom?
used to be a big M,
Oh.
and then it said Marvel at the top, and then Comics in the M.
Oh.
Yeah, that had been Marvel Comics logo for a long time.
Oh.
You might also recognize. No, I don't think. Yeah, they showed it at the end of the X-Men cartoon and the terrible Spider-Man cartoon from the '90s, the one that everybody likes.
So okay, hang on.
So that's kind of the wrap up of Torment, but no, let me feel free to let me
Torment
just open up
is
the questions.
It's just about some bitch.
But by the way,
Yeah.
he never uses her again, and I don't think anyone ever does either. I think
What happens to her?
Well, maybe
she
well,
disappears.
Well, I mean,
There's
think
no
about it.
point.
Kraven quit right after
Yeah, so I
failing to
guess
kill
she's
Spider-Man.
done.
So
Yeah.
she's like, all right, I gotta live
But
by
was she even trying to kill Spider-Man?
Yeah.
What was she trying to do?
I think the
Yeah.
explosion interrupted her plan to kill Spider-Man
Okay.
Why was she taking 6 issues to do it?
because she's drawing it out. She's
If she
tormenting
wants-
him.
Yeah.
But
because she was tormented.
Yeah, by the death of her lover.
yeah,
You buying that?
that's the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Her lover tried to kill Spider-Man and failed,
Yep, and then killed himself.
Yeah.
and therefore
I mean, she
Spider-Man
went-
must die.
You'd be surprised how many characters.
Clearly, based on the amount of effort she went through this, I feel like she should have tried a little harder.
Yeah.
Right?
Like there was a lot of effort leading up
I
to
think
this.
she kind
Oh
of
my
dropped the
God.
ball.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Nothing happened.
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nobody wins.
Yeah. And then the
Mary
next-
Jane had a nice time.
Yeah, at least Mary Jane had
That's
a nice
what
time.
it is.
When I was reading near the end of this, I didn't read, but I flipped through and tried
That's
to figure
more or
out
less
what's
the same
going on.
thing. That's how he expects you to read it.
It looked like they were like gonna go after Mary Jane at
Oh,
the end. Was
Yeah.
that?
Oh
Or
no,
was
I think
that
that's
No.
Spider-Man looking, right?
that's Spider-Man looking. That's Spider-Man on the skylight of their
Is that what
apartment.
you're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about?
I thought,
Oh,
like,
okay.
they were like, and then we're gonna get. And then
No,
we're
they
gonna kill
don't.
her.
They don't know who he is. They don't know.
No,
the
they
secret
do.
identity.
They talk about him being Peter.
That might be the
Oh,
omniscient
that's a
narrator.
hallucinate. Oh.
A lot of narration in that book.
But I thought there was something like they know who he is now. And
No,
there's
they don't.
hiding.
They have no idea who he is. It just means that the lizard has caught his scent, so he can never evade the lizard.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
so the lizard could follow him
Back to his house, maybe? By the way, he doesn't. Later on, they do I think it's the 30th anniversary of Spider-Man, when we have the next lizard story, and they ignore this entirely. The lizard comes back and he's like, that witch took over my mind, but now she's gone, and I'm good.
I don't know where she went, but
Yeah. You're
It's-
like, all right.
It's really hard to figure out what's going on in any individual panel here.
No, you've got to read it from
Because
beginning
the
to...
lizard's like, in it, it's Peter is like, "Argh,"
Yeah.
and the lizard's like,
Yeah.
bouncing around, and she's like, yeah, but it's like, but what are they doing? Are
No,
they standing there?
And where are they in the room?
Where,
Like-
where are they in the room?
Yeah.
I can't even tell where they're in relation to each other,
I know.
or what it is they're in the act of. Are
Mhm.
they just posing?
Yeah. Right,
Or,
like, what
minutes?
moment
How
have we
much time is
captured?
passing?
Yeah.
they needed like one panel cut where it's just Peter like on the ground and then she's there and just nothing's going on. So
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
you
it's
can
like
see.
completely
Okay, I
distinct.
get it. She's about 10
Right.
feet away.
Yeah.
They're on the
But
ground.
meanwhile,
Yeah.
when you're seeing him, it's like
Yeah.
Well, you can almost not tell if that's gasoline.
Yeah.
It's because everything's so strangely colored sometimes.
Yes.
See, there's the gasoline. I was talking
Oh,
about.
that looks like oil.
So,
Well,
oh yeah, I guess it must be that.
it's whatever. It's
So-
whatever's flammable.
Whoa, he is losing it. What?
He's tied up, I guess.
Yeah,
Great.
they tied him up.
Oh, yeah. So wait, the lizard.
Lizard captured Spider-Man, brought him to her lair,
Okay.
which is just a warehouse
And then
in the
just
city.
menaces him, I guess. Just like crawls around.
So wait,
Yep.
the lizard
Yeah,
was
yeah,
stabbed or he wasn't stabbed?
The lizard was stabbed. Lizard,
But he regenerated.
the
right?
voodoo that Calypso uses preserves the lizard's life. So the lizard is unkillable.
like a
in this
zombie.
story.
Oh.
Yes, he's like a zombie.
Is that why the last panel is?
Is him dying and then coming back.
No, it's like he's
His
just like
hand is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just
It's
his
to,
hand,
it's to imply, like, don't worry, Lizard didn't really
And then it
die.
ends to rise above it all.
and then it says doom, at the
Doom.
bottom.
It says doom a lot.
Yeah,
Doom is the onomatopoeia for the drums that Calypso is playing.
Oh.
And it's also the same sound of the blood that Peter hears in his ears from the point. Like, it's
Oh.
Doom is an ever-present sound effect that they use throughout the book to illustrate like the beating of the drums and the craziness. Oh,
I will
there's
say.
a cat holding a toy in her mouth.
I will say this, like bravo for the experimentation with panels.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
saying they work.
No,
Yeah.
but I think you got to
Yeah.
break the mold.
Yeah,
Make
and
it-
like,
Oh, yeah,
but like
definitely.
he destroyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went beyond.
Yeah, and then
just-
some of it's like, okay, cool, and a lot of it you see today, like where like you
Oh, yeah.
have like.
Some of these are some of my favorite Spider-Man poses of all time.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I-
like even the panel layout, like with this one where it's like really big, like you got that
Yes.
big image in the back, and like
Yeah,
all the individual
yeah.
panels over
Yeah.
it. Like you still see that.
Oh, that's
today.
used today, absolutely.
So sorry, what were you saying? But
Some of these are some of my favorite visuals of Spider-Man ever. When Spider-Man's in the alley and he saves the woman, and he's like where there's mostly shadow.
oh, that one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Where he uses the webs to kind of like
Yeah.
support himself. So cool. I also love the visual of Spider-Man half dead with like half the mask ripped off, and this is one of the first times we see that the lenses are shatterable.
Oh,
That's cool.
that is cool. I mean, it's some of it is like that,
Yeah.
like that. Some of it, it's really cool, and then you
Yeah.
guys get these other like images where I'm like,
Yeah.
I just feel like
I mean, like here,
It's just too
one,
much
it's
going
all
on.
self-taught. Number two, there's no
this is my
Yeah.
that
yeah.
double page spread, and by the way, you're supposed to be that's you as the reader are where Spider-Man is. You're supposed to be like, whoa.
Oh, so it's like a hallucination.
It's like what he's
Yeah,
seeing.
but his
basically.
Oh yeah, his
here.
head's there. So you're
Yeah.
actually kind of like right over his shoulder.
Yeah.
You're like there with him, and you
Mhm.
don't.
And the lizard's like, I'm here too.
Yeah, and like Kraven's there, but like you got the eyes from Kraven's things. You
Yeah,
gotta,
I think that's just this. It suffers from too much fucking detail.
Yeah.
yes.
Now,
Yes.
I would love to see Torment recolored.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wonder
Wow,
if that would
could
fix
really
it.
help
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like if you just put more emphasis on certain things and less
Yeah.
on
Now, by the way,
everything else is the
I'm not.
same
Yeah, it's
value.
Yeah,
all
you can actually tell
monochromatic.
some
There's
things apart
no.
that might-
Yeah, there's no variation or like where's the light source coming from?
Yeah.
In any of these
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
Now I would want both. Like I don't want it. I love what it's like. Some of the images and colors in this book are so great, but I want to see it. I would love to see some key scenes done with modern sensibilities, just to see if it's
Yes.
worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still cannot believe that Kraven. I mean, she's hot. Like she might be crazy, but she's hot.
Yeah, well, everyone in the Marvel universe is hot.
Yeah, but I just
Yeah,
I
she
find
has
it
to
really
be.
hard to believe that Kraven.
Could land a babe like Calypso.
Yeah.
Well, because he's the greatest hunter in the world.
Yeah. Maybe even.
Yeah, and even though half his face is blown off, you gotta admit, the guy is packing.
It's pretty ripped. Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
So yeah, Torment. This would be the craziest Spider-Man gets.
He's pretty crazy
It's,
in there.
Yeah.
No, I just mean like as far as like
Story is-
Oh.
with
yeah.
with special notice given, the Clone Saga is where things are the craziest. But that's like soap opera bullshit crazy.
Okay.
Where it's like my favorite scene ever, where it's Spider-Man, his clone, and there's another clone, and they're all in the entryway of his Aunt May's house. And he says, "If you're not me, then who am I?" And then there's a panel off panel, or there's a speed bubble off panel. Says, "That's what I'd like to know." And then it pulls back, and there's 3 Peter Parkers, and they're all looking at each other.
And they're all pregnant with each other.
Yeah, exactly. And you just almost hear the organ ding. Tune in next week for this fucking bullshit. So, but like,
so that's one kind of crazy.
this
this
is
is
a
all-
fever dream.
A
This is
dead
literally-
man
yeah,
with
that is a
hole
fever
in his
dream.
head, tormenting Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Is another.
This
I
is-
love
That's
the
a freak
lizard
out.
whenever
Yeah.
he's around Calypso or Kraven, whichever one he sees, and the lizard's like, hey!
Yeah, he's like a.
And like his tail's wrapped
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Expression.
It reminds me of the terror dog with Gozer. Where Gozer's
Yeah.
like, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the terror dog's like, "Grrr." Like the lizard's like, yeah, I'm a pawn.
Yeah.
And it's great when you think about the lizard, if you know anything about the lizard and seen the lizard in books, where the lizard is a guy.
Yeah.
And now he's like, duh, and you imagine it being the same fucking person, and you're like, it's pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Also,
afterwards, the lizard was probably like, "Oh my god."
here's the worst part about that. That's
What did I
hilarious.
do?
Here's the worst part of that. McFarlane didn't originally pick the lizard. McFarlane wanted to use Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin.
Really?
What?
And the editor was like, use a more animal character that actually makes more fucking sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Can you imagine a guy like, yeah, like, whoa, Harry, what are you doing? As opposed to a creature that actually has fangs and a tongue and a tail.
Yeah.
You could argue like, no, you were taking over. You were a monster at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Harry just being in his goblin costume, you take the mask off, it's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's like, ah!
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like, what message speaks the drums? Doom.
Well, like taking a character who's like strength comes in their mind as opposed to their brute strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
So weird.
oh, it's so.
Wow,
But
weird.
like, yeah, like, but
You couldn't have this amazing picture.
Yeah, of-
Green
Well, you could. It would just be a lot more.
it would be it would be more weird. It would it would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it
So
would be a
more
lot
of the
less
same.
Yeah.
scary.
It would actually, it would be less scary and more
yeah.
like, what a fail.
Why am I reading this?
Yeah, but
I can't.
good.
No.
I was gonna say the other thing that this book brought in was this took advantage of the rise of the multiple covers. Spider-Man 1 was considered a collector's item because, oh my god, like it's a #1, it'll be worth something someday. So they came out with like 5 different covers. There's like a platinum cover, a gatefold cover, a fucking foil cover. There were also multiple printings, and all those covers. It was just, and
They're all going to be worth $1 billion.
and if everyone buys 1,000 copies, it'll all be worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
Wrong, sir. But I did have my copy, of course, of Spider-Man #1.
You only had one,
I
right?
had one, of course. I only had one platinum cover, and that's somewhere in my collection. It's worth probably $2.
But you got it.
Yep.
The Legend of the Arachnite.
It's their play on Dark Knight on Batman.
Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Because, you know,
That's somebody else's thing.
I know, but they're like ribbing each other.
Yeah. Because the Dark Knight, we got the Arachnite.
That's exactly the tone and the gesture that they used when they were saying that. Yeah, you got the Dark Knight, we got the Arachnite. Yeah, Batman's cool because he's a billionaire playboy douchebag with a bat costume. Our guy can stick to walls and he fights green demon monsters like this.
You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
look at all his villains green.
Not all.
Well,
Doug
well,
is green.
artist
He
people,
can be.
Yeah.
what are complimentary?
Oh,
Red and
yeah.
Green.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, Stan Lee was probably like, make
Make
them
them green. Lizards are green. Most lizards are green.
Yeah.
A blue lizard would be weird.
Green will pop.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, a lot of he's got the Green Goblin, he's got the Lizard, he's got Scorpion, who's also green. The Jackal is totally green.
Is the Vulture green?
The Vulture is green as well. Electro's costume is yellow and green.
I guess that one isn't.
Dr. Octopus actually wears a green bodysuit when he first created.
I guess Kraven's not green.
Kraven is not green, he's orange.
Yeah.
He's definitely
But he wasn't originally
Oh
green?
no, Kraven has looked like that since 1968.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I
noticed-
remember Kraven from like a
Cartoon.
Sunday
Oh yeah.
Sunday funny page.
yeah, he's in there. Yeah, he's in, especially if you've seen those but rewritten to be really offensive.
Mhm.
If you've never seen Spider-Man,
Oh, I have seen some of those. Yeah.
where they change the dialogue
Yeah.
to change everything about that strip,
Yeah.
it's some of the funniest shit ever. Where like Spider-Man beats up some bank robbers and he takes their money bags, but then writes sugar on them. Like the rewriter put sugar, and he's like, the fucking poor guy. The burglars are now like, no, please don't. I'm a diabetic. This looks like a job for sugar.
Yeah, it's in there because they've got the covers in the back.
Yes.
For 1 through.
Because they don't want you to
1 through
miss a
5.
fucking frame of
Yeah.
McFarlane art.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Get
like
it all.
they did the first all new collector's item issue, Spider-Man: The Legend of the Arachnite, and then
By
the
the
next
way-
issue is Bloodlust of the Lizard, and then it's just something strange is going on here. But by issue 4, they decided to go back to the Arachnite, so this is Death of the Arachnite. No matter how many times you kill him, the lizard lives, and then the Arachnite triumph?
Yep.
Question mark,
Question mark?
exclamation mark?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah,
Oh.
that last issue, that image of Spider-Man, that's been on T-shirts, that's been on posters. Like,
Really?
oh
Him
yeah.
freaking out.
Him freaking, because it's like you've never seen Spider-Man drawn like that ever,
Well, no.
nor will you ever.
Well, I don't want to.
I
No,
don't want to either.
Spider-Man. It's so funny because of what a weird tonal shift. Like the first, yay, I'm Spider-Man, and it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
and
Yeah, he looks like
he's
it
dragged
doesn't
to
look
hell,
like Spider-Man. It looks like a guy dressed up as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
screaming his head off. He looks
Yeah.
like a fucking WWF superstar.
Why
Well,
does
like-
his mask get all fucked up?
Because the lizard like scratched it or something. Like it's really unclear as to how it happens. It's just that it happens.
I assume it's just crazy.
Or maybe he just
Yeah.
screams so hard and loud that
Yeah,
he
they
blasts
just
the bottom half of the mask off.
He just starts losing it. And he's
And
just,
what he's
I gotta look more rough
in
and
several
tough.
shots, he's
Yeah.
in this wooden thing.
Yeah, he's in the rafters of that like
So is he like
Warehouse.
trapped in there?
Well, he's like, I gotta.
Oh, I guess it's the explosion that rips it.
Yes.
There's some sort of
Oh.
explosion.
That's it.
Okay.
But
And
that
that's-
happens like there's still a whole issue after the explosion. I thought the explosion happens and then they go away.
No, then they fight in the fire.
Oh, you didn't mention that.
All right. Well, he fights the lizard in the fire, and then he like throws some chains at the lizard, which inexplicably kill it, and then she leaves.
Well, I tried.
She does this, and then we don't see her anymore.
She crabbed and then that was it.
Like,
I think Spider-Man just gets the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah,
She
she is,
fucking
yeah.
does that, and
there's
that's
another explosion.
Yeah.
holy crap. That's literally
That's actually
wow.
there's a shot where Spider-Man heroically runs away.
Oh,
and that's
Welp him off! That's
Yeah.
it.
Is that because the lizard's gone? So she's like, I guess I should go now.
Yeah.
Because I can't do anything
And
to
we're
you
done.
besides.
You're welcome.
And I guess you're gonna die.
ta-da!
Well, my revenge is complete. I gotta go.
I
I
guess.
tormented you.
Oh no, she just gets buried.
Oh.
Oh.
was she?
Well, they think she gets buried.
Oh.
Like we don't
Oh,
know.
does it like collapse?
Yeah, the whole building
Yeah.
collapses.
Alright. That's something.
She is collapsing the structure
Oh.
on herself.
Oh.
So says the comic.
So says the omniscient
she
narrator.
So
can
says
die
the narration
like her,
to explain the
Like
image.
her lover kills herself.
Well, I think she's like, I'm gonna bring down the house,
Yeah,
before
I'll
he
kill
can
us
escape.
both.
I'll kill him.
Yeah.
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 And she's like,
Yep.
like giddy about it.
Yeah, she's.
She's like, fuck yeah, what's the point of
Like
living
it's
without
part of the plan.
Kraven?
What's the
Yeah.
point
He's
of
all
living
the man
without
I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Man could eat spiders like it was nobody's business.
Those balls of spiders.
Yeah. Craziest fucking
And
thing
then
ever.
the end of this seems kind of dark because it's like,
He says, well, it says like,
Oh, and then the lizard's gone.
yes.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, the omniscient narrator says, that which made him the Spider-Man will also save his life because he won't die from the poison that is running through his veins.
Right.
But the lizard lives.
I guess.
Yeah, it says you will, but in the days ahead, it is not the physical pain that will cripple you. You will heal. It is the fact that being a hero makes you a target.
Yeah.
Unprovoked attacks that make no sense, that give no
Makes
answer.
no sense. Yeah.
So it's like it ends kind of.
Well, it ends in a way where it's like, this is.
Yeah, he
this,
got away, but he's fucked up.
Well, it's also like, this is the kind of thing that's just going to keep happening.
Right.
Hey, Spider-Man readers, I just want
Yeah,
you to know.
get used to
More the
this.
same.
More the
It's
same.
It's gonna be every story now.
You're welcome.
McFarlane has anything to say about
Which he
it.
doesn't and leaves shortly thereafter.
Oh my
man.
god.
Yeah. So horrible. The only thing that I'm amazed by in this book is that we don't have a vertical page. McFarlane loved doing this.
That's a shame.
You're reading your comic, and then all of a
See-
sudden it's this many panels and shit, but this way.
Right.
That would have been good for this kind of crazy ass
when,
shit.
No,
yeah, when
I don't
he
want
left,
that.
when he
It's like,
left
wow.
Marvel,
Yeah.
he did
It
one
folds
last.
out. You're like,
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you reading? When he left Marvel, they gave him one last issue of Spider-Man. Whole issue's this way.
No.
Whole issue is this way, and it's him teaming up with X-Force. So there's like Cannonball and Juggernaut
Was he
and
just
Cable.
being a dick?
Just being. Well, he's like, I'm gonna do something that no one's ever seen before.
Oh,
And so the
yeah.
front cover is this. Like the front cover is this way, and you just read it like that, and it's some of the most mind-numbingly crazy shit.
That's like a first idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Like, let's try that.
Yeah, you
You
know
know
what?
what?
That doesn't work.
It's
Let me not do that.
let's
Yeah.
not do
One
that
page
ever
like
again.
that. I'll
Yeah.
do the middle page like that.
He has done that before, so I have a feeling it was probably like a fuck you.
Wow.
Nobody likes vertical comics.
What's up with the little extra story in the back?
Well, the extra story is that McFarlane drew this story. I don't think he wrote it.
No, it's Glenn Heralding?
Okay.
Herdling? Sorry. I can't
And yeah, it's just McFarlane drew this story, and so like, let's throw it in there. It was just that when they
Just a bumper kind of.
when Marvel used to do collected trade paperbacks of their books, they like to always they like to throw a little extra in there, a little something extra.
And it's
And
not
this
like a
is-
preview.
this
It's just.
Yeah, no, it's a little self-contained story. Marvel back then did a lot of done-in-ones, where it wasn't just like an ongoing, this is the... No, like,
Wow.
usually like 32 pages, Spider-Man meets a villain, he fights the villain, he defeats the villain in the end. Like, it's a really...
Oh.
I loved those.
Right.
Because it allowed you, when you're a kid, and you go to a comic book store, and you don't know anything, you go through the long boxes, you can pick up an issue. And you don't need to go back and get all of them.
It's kind of like a Monster of the Week episode.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's very episodic.
That's cool.
So yeah, you get a little backup story about the Prowler,
Yeah.
which is fucking horrible.
Is he a good guy?
Prowler used to be a
It's
Spider-Man
Pale
villain.
Prowler, right? Or no, pale. Oh no, it's Pale something.
Pale Reflection. Prowler and
So-
Pale Reflection.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Prowler was a bad guy, as you can imagine,
Well,
but
because he's called the Prowler.
he's the Prowler. He
Right.
used to be a
Good
he used
guys
to
don't
literally be a Prowler. He would literally break people's houses and take their shit. And he was a Spider-Man villain for a little while, and then Silver Sable, who is a Marvel superhero, who's also like the leader of her own country.
Okay.
Not unlike Doctor Doom, but hot and a girl and a good guy.
Oh,
She has like a mercenary team called the Wild Pack,
okay.
and she's like training, and she's interviewing Prowler to join the Wild Pack in that story.
Oh, okay. I would change my name if I had turned into a good guy.
Yeah, to be the Prowler.
I would be like, I'm not the Prowler anymore.
It's formerly.
And the Prowler,
Yeah.
the Prowler
Formerly known as the
hilariously
Prowler.
looks just like Spawn, and
Yeah, he does.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, he does.
at least as far as McFarlane designs.
Yeah, and the mask.
The mask, the fucking
Oh.
cape, everything. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we have 6.
Oh, yeah.
Not 6. We had 7 viewers. We have 6 viewers now. Do you
Hey.
want to ask the viewers if they have any questions?
Sure. Yeah. Any questions you got
Yeah,
for
do that.
about Spider-Man Torment, or just back issues in general? You're welcome to shoot them out. Ethan is monitoring the chat room.
I'm
We can
guessing-
cover those as well. Just make it an interactive portion of the show. Yeah, why not?
I'm guessing they weren't doing the comics code.
Yeah, no, the
There's
comics.
no-
No, Comics Code approved that shit.
Oh yeah, there it is on the covers.
Yeah. No, the Comics Code Authority was like, yeah, it's fine.
Well, there's no swear words.
Yeah, there's no swear words.
Drug use.
There's nobody
You know
using
what?
drugs.
To
Are
be-
there any breasts in the book?
Well, they're
No.
covered.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go.
I mean,
That
to
I
be fair,
know.
you can't tell what's happening in most of the panels anyway.
I think
All sorts of shit
I think the
is
Comics Code people went,
Uh,
fine.
It's good.
I just see colors,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think I'm freaking out and I don't want anyone to know it.
It makes me
Did
uncomfortable.
you dose me?
well, the lizard did. He
Yeah,
scratched
he
you.
scratched you. Insane.
It is. It's. Oh my.
It really is.
And it's kind of like an unofficial sequel to Kraven's Last Hunt.
That's true. I mean, I do love that image of him when he shows up and like
Yeah.
half his head.
Yeah.
This is the
Does-
whole.
Does Kraven stay dead, or does he come back at some point?
Kraven will eventually come back, but he only came back about 5 years ago.
How do you come back from a hole through your head?
Yeah.
It's
grew
called.
back.
It's a story called Grim Hunt, an Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh.
Kraven's family, his wife and children,
Oh.
Wait, who's not Calypso?
not Calypso.
Oh!
Yeah, that does not come up in Grim Hunt.
Oh.
Calypso does not come up.
I'm betting that Calypso, he doesn't give a shit about her.
Oh,
She's just
no.
a person
She's
who's
Yeah.
just
hung
obsessed
up
with
on
him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Probably said hi to her, and
Yeah.
then she gets lost.
Oh
in
no,
it.
no! I bet he was on a hunt somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he hunted a lot of places.
Yeah.
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 I'm sure he set a lot of traps.
Yeah. So, Grim Hunt was the Kravenov. The Kravenov family wants to resurrect Kraven, and so they hunt down different members of the Spider-Verse, which is
Okay.
just another way of saying like different Spider-related characters. There are like 5 Spider-Women, so like
Okay.
they grabbed Madam Web, Spider-Woman or Spider-Girl, and Arachne, who's basically a Hispanic Spider-Girl,
Okay.
and Spider-Man and his clone, but not the regular clone, his deformed, evil clone, Kane. And they hunt them down, and they're like, if we kill all the spider people, we can use their blood to do some kind of fucking voodoo shit, and it'll resurrect Kraven the Hunter. If we kill Spider-Man, if we hurt spider people, it will affect the web of life enough to lure Spider-Man here. And then when we kill Spider-Man, we can trade his life for Kraven's life using convoluted, nonsensical religious garbage. And then Kraven the Hunter will be resurrected and we'll have
Magic,
Kraven
huh?
back.
That's
Okay, I was gonna say I've got a question.
It's magic.
Is this a proven
This
way
is-
of bringing back?
They certainly
There's
believe it.
books on this shit.
They
Or-
certainly believe it hard enough.
They just
There's
someone
Well-
was like, hey, you know what?
So here's what happens. Spoilers for Grim Hunt. Spider-Man does show up. They kill Madam Web,
Oh.
who's like a clairvoyant character who like helps out Spider-Man every once in a while. She's the catalyst for Spider-Man to fight the Juggernaut in a classic old Spider-Man story.
Okay.
So anyway, they kill Madam Web. They kill Mattie Franklin, who is either she's like J. Jonah Jameson's like adopted like daughter kinda.
Okay.
She's like a misfit orphan person that J. Jonah Jameson took in.
She's like Annie?
Yeah, like Annie. And she like got spider powers and became Spider Girl.
Okay.
They killed her too.
Okay.
And Kane switches places with Spider-Man, like puts on Spider-Man's costume, and like knocks out Peter Parker and like leaves him in a ditch somewhere. And they kill Kane.
Oh.
And so Kraven is resurrected. But because it's the clone,
Right.
it's fucked up. So Kraven's back, but he's like crazy and like
More so?
more crazy.
Oh.
And he's like mad because he's like, I killed myself for a reason. I
Right.
shouldn't be here.
I ate a room of spiders.
I ate spiders.
I ate asshole brother.
I ate rooms full of spiders.
That's
I
supposed to be it.
can't
Yeah.
live that down.
You can't ever
like a
do
ticket.
better than this. This
Yeah.
is really the top echelon of Kraven stories. What story must you tell about me?
What must I eat next?
Yes, exactly.
I like cuisine.
Spiders!
So Kraven's back, but nobody has told a story worth a damn. I was so angry because I'm like, no, they killed Kraven. It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, let him go.
Yeah.
We don't
What
really
a way
need
to go,
Kraven.
too.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, it was so great, and it's one of those characters that like there's so few left that they left dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no one begs to get Kraven the Hunter. They had to invent new characters like Kraven's family to legitimize a reason to bring Kraven the Hunter back from the dead.
Just don't.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
So, Kraven the Hunter is back now, and they don't really know what to do with him. Incidentally, they killed Kane, the spider clone,
Yeah.
and then he was resurrected as a tarantula, not a tarantula, but as Tarantula.
Wait.
But not Tarantula, the Spaniard
Okay.
supervillain with pointed boots. Fuck.
That's my favorite panel.
He's resurrected as Tarantula, and then it
You get
turns out
cat
that the
now.
Jackal was a character named Miles Warren, who was Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy's biology professor, who unlocks the secrets to fully formed cloning and implanted memories.
Wow.
Yeah, as a simple
Ooh.
community college biology professor.
Man, he's being underpaid.
Yeah.
He winds up becoming the Jackal, and he clones Spider-Man, and he causes the Clone Saga, which is why I quit comics for a long time. And then but Dan Slott's like, I'm gonna, because like the guy who wrote Grim Hunt, whose name escapes me at the moment, he was like, he left it hanging. He's like, let's see what happens. So like, it's implied that like the Spider Gods like raised Kane back from the dead and gave him like made him look like a spider, like he's got multiple eyes and shit, and they're like, rise Tarantula, and then said like, let's see what somebody does with this.
Oh, wow.
And so Dan Slott, who's like the current Spider-Man writer, retconned in that when Kane dies, he turns into a giant like spider, a man spider that he can control, and then that launches Spider Island.
We have a comment from Terminal Noob.
Hey, Terminal Noob, you are a regular commenter. Welcome to the
It
show.
says they did do a story in the Scarlet Spider series featuring Kraven.
Yes, they did. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Fuck you, Kat, for knocking over my stuff. You know what? Ironically, she knocked over the spray bottle.
Oh,
I'm gonna go get her some food
Yeah,
while
thank
you
you.
explain.
So,
how Kraven's
yes,
set
they
up.
did bring back Kraven. Scarlet Spider is Kane, the evil spider clone.
Yeah.
Spider Island was a big Spider-Man story that happens.
The horrors.
Exactly. They basically cure Kane of being a man spider, so he just looks like Spider-Man. And he grabs a spare suit of Spider-Man's and he moves to Houston, Texas, where he's like the Scarlet Spider. And Kraven the Hunter hunts him down and they have a fight. And then now Scarlet Spider / Kane is a member of the New Warriors, whom you might remember from our episode of Civil War, who are the reasons why...
oh shit!
Yeah, they resurrected the New Warriors. Not like all the characters, but like the team. There's a new team of New Warriors. spiders.
Why would they do that after what happened with the last one?
Well, it's
Because that works so well.
right. Yeah, well, at
They
least
all got killed, and most of them, and resulted in the registration.
Well, I mean,
I know.
It wasn't the name that got people killed.
No, it was Speedball,
Yeah.
aka Penance.
They were all complicit in it.
They also all died.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to worry about it.
So yeah, sorry about that. Yes, Kraven did come back. By the way, I argue that was lame. Like, still not worth bringing Kraven the Hunter back.
Right.
It's not like we need to see Kraven come back in this spin-off Spider-Man
So he
title
can fight
that will
the
be canceled
Spider.
16 issues in.
Yeah.
Please. Any other questions?
No, we also had a comment from Tabor10, who's another frequent commenter.
Tabor10 gave us the House of M idea.
That's right. That's right.
By the way, you get a shout out in our next episode.
Yeah, because we couldn't remember your name last time.
Yeah, but it's in there.
Oh no, that's right.
We couldn't remember your
We
name when we shot it.
in that when we shot it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
we
in
do
there. I
mention
put it in
yeah.
text-wise, but it's there.
He says no questions, just enjoying the show.
Hey, well, thanks for
Yeah.
watching, man. I really appreciate it.
So,
We really appreciate it.
am I wrong that you could throw a stone in New York and hit someone with spider powers at this
Pretty
point?
much.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
well,
like,
don't they bring that to the ultimate, conclusion where they make everyone have spider powers? In New
yeah,
York?
Spider Island is
Yeah.
the story where the jackal.
Okay.
So you literally can't throw a stone.
And it's a lot of fun. I love that story. Spider Island's great because, okay, so Dan Slott's like, you know that the whole bed bug epidemic
Yeah.
that happened a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Fucking the jackal, the jackal did that. And the bed bugs, and but all the bed bugs have the genetic strain in them to give people the same powers as Spider-Man.
Oh.
So everyone
It's like
in New
Secret
York City,
Invasion, where
yeah.
they're like that you think they're bed bugs,
but they're not.
actually
They're
But I mean, they're still bad.
they're still bed
They're
bugs.
still bed bugs, but these are like
So
special
gross.
bed bugs.
So,
They're not
like-
normal bed bugs.
So the bed bugs bit everyone in New York. So everyone in New York gets Spider-Man's powers.
They bit everyone in New York.
Everyone in New York.
Everyone in
That's
New York gets
insane.
bed bugs. Nobody escapes.
That's correct, with the exception of
Well, I mean, they're
Aunt
bed
May.
bugs.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, Aunt May sleeps in a hammock.
It may move to Philadelphia when it happens.
Was it
so
literally everyone, or was it just like most people?
most people in New York,
Okay.
including some Avengers and shit. Yeah, but everybody gets spider powers. But then, so like they have a great time,
Yeah.
and then they start turning into spiders.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And it's all facilitated by a villain that was created during Avengers Assembled called the Queen, who's this crazy woman who's like immortal, and she fought Captain America during World War II, and she has control over spiders, and she wants to rule the
The
world.
spiders have queens that control them. That's
Right.
how spiders work.
That's how they work,
Yeah.
right? It's not totally made up at all.
Like,
So,
certainly
but
isn't
the
bees
jackal's
or
working,
ants.
No.
but the jackal's working for the Queen, and the Queen is like, yes, I will create all these spiders, and then I'll control the web of destiny, and
And bring back Kraven.
Oh,
I did
my
that.
God.
Somebody
Back to
did that.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't worry about that.
But yeah, so everyone I love that
web
story.
of destiny. You tried to sneak that in there. What the fuck is that?
Well, remember when I said that there's a spider god
Yeah.
and that Spider-Man got his powers because there's a spider person every
Yeah.
generation or so?
Which doesn't make any like. Is it that, or is it the radioactive spider, or is it both?
It's whatever you believe, because
And did
Like-
these people get their powers from the spider god, or from the bed bugs, or from?
well, here's the thing, like when it was first created by Straczynski, the idea was Spider-Man, like there's another guy, there's an old guy named Ezekiel, and he has exactly the same spider powers as him,
Okay.
including the spider sense. And he's like, hey man, I got my powers from the spider god, just like you did. And Spider-Man's like, I did not get my spider powers from a spider god. I got my spider powers from a radioactive spider. As silly as that sounds.
Yeah.
And he's like, was it? No, the spider had. Was it that the spider like got irradiated and gave you the powers that you were meant to have, or was it that the spider had that was a spider chosen by the spider god? It had the power in it. It just happened to get irradiated, and that's what makes you think that that's how your powers came about. Or was it that the irradiation was the way through which the spider god,
Right.
like God works in mysterious
Right,
ways,
right.
Yeah, the world wasn't made in 7 days, but like for God, 7 days is eons.
Does that indicate that the radiation was the way that the Hulk god
Yeah,
got
right.
to Bruce
the
Banner?
gamma god
The gamma gods. Yes.
blew up
Gamma
a
the-
bomb,
Yeah.
and so in that regard,
Is the Spider God a character? Does the Spider God ever show up and like fight somebody?
Yeah, it's a giant spider.
Oh my
When
God.
Spider-Man dies, he meets the Spider God.
Is it based on like mythology?
It's
like-
based off the Ascani or whatever. The
Anansi?
Anansi, yes.
Because that's the African
Yes,
spider.
it is.
Ah.
I know.
So that's legit.
I know this because there's a Gargoyles episode
Ah.
in which they have to battle Anansi, the spider
Yes.
god, who's
Alright.
voiced, I believe, by LeVar Burton.
Right.
Nice.
Nice.
I didn't mean to derail.
No, it's Anansi
Cool.
is.
It's amazing.
Yes, that is. It is exactly that.
Okay.
Okay.
So they go. Yeah.
That's still.
But it's
Yeah.
but it's only when he like dies does he see. It's not like the Spider God like
Shows up. He's like,
shows
hey
up
man.
and
No.
Earth and, like,
Oh my
attacks
God.
with
No.
Three.
When Kraven was dead, he should have hunted the
Anansi.
spider
Yes!
god.
In the
Oh.
afterlife.
Now
And they-
that if they had done that, I would have been like, all right. This
Like
is
he
cool.
could have hunted
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
spirit animals.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
All that shit happened. I took great pains to just ignore it as much as possible.
Wait, when he came back or when he?
No, the Spider Gods.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
Peter Parker is like, no, that's bullshit. And
Well,
I'm
he's a
like,
scientist.
Right. Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Right, but
Yeah.
then it,
But he knows
but,
Thor's real, so.
but
like,
then it's irrefutably.
Yeah, but is Thor
That.
a god or is he?
He's an alien.
no, we have some questions here.
Okay, let's hear him.
Question: someone off topic. This is from Tabor 10. What did you guys think of the new Spider-Man movie? Just wondering your thoughts on it.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but before we get to that, he had another question which
Okay.
is directly related to what we just talked about. When is the Spider God mentioned? Like, what issue? Sounds
Oh.
fairly interesting to read about.
Okay. The Spider God is mentioned during J. Michael Straczynski's run on Amazing Spider-Man. If you look up Amazing Spider-Man JMS, and the first volume that he starts writing it is that one. What issue is that? I want to say it's before 500 and after 450. So it's like it's right when maybe Tiffany will look it up, but
I'm trying to.
they're all in collected volumes. You can pick up Straczynski's entire run from when he picked up Amazing Spider-Man all the way through Civil War. So yeah,
Okay.
but it's when Straczynski first starts writing Spider-Man, that's when the Spider God starts, and it culminates like several volumes later. So I think it actually all wraps up around issue 500. So shortly before that. So good question. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
As far as Amazing Spider-Man's concerned,
Hang on. He took over the series with issue number 30, which was dated June 2001.
they renumbered Spider-Man at the time, so like it's issue 30, but it's also issue 400 and something.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck finding that.
But it
That's
says
not
the cover
confusing
date
at
is
all.
June 2001. So
Okay.
if you search by date, that might make it a
Yeah,
little bit
exactly.
easier.
Yeah, it makes sense within its own story. So it's not like Torment, where it clearly just a bunch of random shit happens.
Right.
The guy clearly has a story to tell, and he tells
Yeah.
it well.
Okay. That's good.
The Spider God does exist, and it does show up.
Like physically? Like-
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just in the afterlife. It's actually,
No, it's there.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking scary spider.
Does it eat anyone?
Yes.
It's
Oh.
a bunch of men. in a
No.
room.
Does it
Puts a
liquefy
bunch
their
of-
insides and suck them out?
Oh.
It implies heavily that is in fact how it does it. Yes.
Nice.
Oh.
Is
And
it
it's-
responsible for spiders on Earth being there? Did it create spiders?
No, but
Why do
Spider-Man.
spiders exist? And they happen to look exactly like this
Right.
guy.
I don't know.
Perhaps it took on the form
I
of spider.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's an
Yes,
ancient
perhaps
being
it's
who
just-
came to Earth and found these
Yes.
wondrous creatures.
Yeah, these beautiful creatures and
Yeah.
emulated them
Yeah.
Does it find a giant barn and write messages?
to save. To save a pig god.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No, it does not. Sorry. Next
All right.
question.
Yeah, what's the next question?
Next question. What do we think of Amazing Spider-Man 2?
All right.
I thought it was both. I thought it was two movies at the same time. One of which was great, and the other one that sucked.
Which one was great?
The one where Gwen Stacy died.
Okay.
And which one sucked?
The one where all the villains are in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about this. We had way less of a problem with the movie.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Everything.
I did too. But I don't have as like.
Yeah.
I'm not so tied into Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're
like,
coming from
It's not even. Look,
perspectives.
I read Ultimate Spider-Man. I've read so many different incarnations of Spider-Man. I get that you got to have different Spider-Mans. That's totally fine.
Oh yeah.
I hate that Avi Arad
okay.
is trying to
Yes.
create an Avengers level Spider-Man
No, I.
movie cohesive universe,
Right.
and all I want is to see Spider-Man in a Marvel movie.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
Like I want to see Spider-Man show up in the Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't. By the way, and I'm not even going to be greedy enough to say I want to see him on the Avengers.
Mhm.
I want to see him in the movie.
Right.
I want to see him. I want to see a
The
cameo.
acknowledgement that he exists.
Yes.
He's in New York.
Right. Or maybe
show up
maybe a
watch
back and forth with Tony Stark or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
Yeah.
You know, or if especially if like you're gonna end the Avengers because everyone's at 50. Like when they right before they reboot everything, they could like put Spider-Man in towards the end. Like
Oh,
yeah. Well, they could do New Avengers.
that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Speaking of which, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes is a fantastic cartoon series. It's like back issues in as much as it takes the best parts and then puts them on display. It takes all the best moments from the Avengers and then distills them into a cohesive one timeline story.
Cool.
So it's like, oh, this is actually cool. Like, so you don't have to worry about all the minutia that I explain. Like, Kang the Conqueror shows up and he explains who he is, and then he has the coolest adventures he's ever had with the Avengers, and none of the bullshit.
But that means that then if you want to go read more about them, you're just gonna be disappointed.
Well, no, you're gonna get
Yeah.
1,000 more stories, and some of them will be fucking stupid, and some of them will be really cool. But you'll have such an affinity for the character, you won't find them
that's
stupid
true.
like layman might.
No.
But there's an episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes where Kang kills the Avengers, and Tony Stark has a contingency plan where he contacts different superheroes, and because it was a cartoon show, anyone could be in the show.
Mhm.
So he contacts Luke Cage, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, War Machine, The Thing, and he's like, "You're the Avengers now." And it's really fucking cool.
That is cool.
And Wolverine fucking actually kills things with his claws, so he's not like
Oh, not like
It's
the
dinosaur.
X-Men show.
Yeah, no. Whereas Wolverine's like, "I'm gonna kill you with my claws," and they're like, "Yeah, I bet."
He's like, I hope you're a robot.
Ooh, you better be a robot. 'Cause if you're not, I'll just get my ass kicked and make vague threats.
I'll just put these away. Because
By the way, Wolverine is fucking hardcore in that old cartoon show, the old school
No, he
X-Men cartoon
is,
show.
yeah.
When Morph dies,
oh.
and he's so pissed at Cyclops, and he's just like, "Ah!" and he fucking cuts Cyclops' car up.
Yep.
Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. And then he fucking just leaves.
Okay, can we go back to the movies real
Yeah,
quick?
so the movie.
I loved the Rhino. I know it
The
was
Rhino's
much-
great.
I thought the Rhino was
Fuck
great.
everybody who has a problem with the Rhino.
Yeah.
When
That
Paul
is not the problem with that movie.
that is one of the good things about the movie is when Paul Giamatti, I am the Rhino. That is the Rhino.
Yeah.
You don't want to see comic book accurate Rhino. Trust me. You don't. It's fucking dumb. Because Rhino's a dumbass who's stuck in a Rhino suit. He can't get it off.
Oh.
And then later they do a Flowers for Algernon story where he gets super smart and he's like, "Oh, I wish I were stupid again." And you're like, "Oh my god!" Just put a note that says "Read Flowers for Algernon." Like, don't.
Oh,
Fucking dumb.
God.
But no, Paul Giamatti just being a douche
Yeah.
in a mech suit that Oscorp's like, "Hey, why don't you do that?"
Well, let's just see how this works
Let's
out.
see how this works out. When Spider-Man defeats Paul Giamatti Rhino in the beginning, where he's like, "Hup, da-da," he's singing to himself,
Yeah.
and he fucking webs his pants down, and he just nods. Perfect.
Yeah.
That is the movie that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And it's some of the movie I saw. I think a third of the movie is a movie I wanted to see. There's so much in there that fucking ruled. And good acting in it, almost across
Yeah,
the board.
definitely.
Sally Field is a wonderful Aunt May.
Yeah,
I liked.
absolutely.
I like her a lot better than
Yeah. Then
Older
whoever the
Aunt
hell
May?
played Aunt May.
Yeah, the other Aunt May.
Yeah.
Like she's just like she's still older, but she seems so much more capable. And like
Yeah.
You know
she's the kind of woman that you expect Peter Parker to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have
She's like an
raised him.
updated
Yeah,
Aunt May.
yeah,
Yeah.
like his
Yeah.
scruples
Yeah.
and like
She's not quite Ultimate Aunt May. In the
Okay.
Ultimate Comics, Aunt May is my favorite character in Ultimate Spider-Man. And Ultimate Aunt May is like, she's like 50,
okay.
and she's got a life, but she's also incredibly moral, and she's so proud of Peter Parker. Like, it's so cool.
Mhm.
And Sally Field doesn't do that one, but she does a version, and it's a good one.
Mhm.
It works. She's not just a fucking bumper sticker making quip machine that, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
doles like, "Oh, you know, your uncle used to have this rough saying." Yeah, was it about power and responsibility? Like,
Yeah.
So
They-
she does a great job.
They didn't just put her in the movie so they could say they had Sally Field. Like,
Yes.
They actually used her.
Yeah.
And gave her
You know what
chance to do
really-
something. It wasn't like Kevin Costner.
No, in fucking Man of Steel, where it's like, we
They're,
need you to
tricking
have.
into thinking that it's,
He's gonna be really cool, or at least like, hey, You need to have a feel. It's what I call lazy casting. It's what I call the Michael Ironside effect, where we need to have a military guy that no one likes, that inexplicably doesn't like the protagonist, that will die later in the movie.
Yep.
Let's cast Michael Ironside so we don't have to develop a character.
People know exactly what
Yeah.
it
They
is.
just see him and they go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, he's a bad guy who doesn't like our protagonist for no clear reason. The end. They started that with Karate Kid 4, and they haven't stopped. Michael Ironside hasn't made a cool movie since fucking Total Recall. No, Starship Troopers.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I was gonna
say,
say,
are you
Starship
kidding
Troopers.
me?
He breaks the mold. He's a good guy in that movie,
Yeah,
and he's
that's
fucking
true.
awesome.
Yeah.
Also,
But spoilers.
he dies too.
dies.
He always dies. Incidentally, best role for Michael Ironside, pulling it back to comics, Justice League and Superman.
Oh my God!
Michael
yes!
Ironside is Darkseid. Darkseid is a Jack Kirby created supervillain. He's the perfect Superman villain for a shitty
Yes!
movie like Man of Steel, or for an awesome cartoon like Justice League. So great, but Michael
That-
Ironside's playing Darkseid is so fucking cool, and he never. It's just always awesome.
Yeah,
Every
and-
time he says anything, it's fucking awesome.
It could be anything. Like, my introduction to comic books is only through cartoons.
Yeah,
Like, X-Men, Batman animated series,
those are the good ones, by the way.
Superman, and Wildcat.
Yeah, and Wildcats, which was the only one that was not really related to comics. It was Wildcats.
It's very related, I'm sure.
Holy shit, Wildcats. So yeah, I liked Sally Field in the movie. When I saw Sally Field in this movie, a thought occurred to me, and it was just sad, and I was like, man, I think she was supposed to be a MILF in Mrs. Doubtfire, and now she's a grandma.
Oh.
Now she is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Oh my
It was just, I was like,
Oh.
didn't she used to be supposed to be kind of like hot a little bit in Mrs. Doubtfire?
Well, you didn't think about that when you saw Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Todd Lincoln is like
Right.
probably the least attractive woman in any movie ever.
You know, Mrs. Doubtfire is like 20 years old.
20 years old!
So like that's what happens. People get
Oh,
old.
I know! It's just, I know! It's,
Look, we can't all be Kraven.
Pick
Yeah.
anybody who was supposed to be a MILF 20 years ago.
Yeah, and she's
now they're
old.
old.
Yeah, unless it's unless it's Gwyneth Paltrow.
All right, hang on. What?
No, she wasn't a MILF 20 years ago.
No, that's true.
She is now.
Yeah.
Well, now that's what she is.
Yeah.
What didn't you like about the movie? I know you two have some strong
Dr.
opinions about
Kafka. Dr. Ashley Kafka was
Yeah,
fucking
Oh, yeah.
was Batman and Robin bad,
Yeah. And it was really out of place.
and it totally didn't
Because-
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took you out of the movie. It was so bizarre. and
Where
distracting.
he's dancing and giggling. I expected
Yeah.
to see Joel Schumacher lighting on him and shit.
To me, he was a one scene. If he'd been in one scene for a second, it'd been like, oh, what the hell
What the fuck is that? But no,
then
they
he
keep
comes
bringing it back.
over, and you're like, what are you doing with this character?
Yeah.
This is not a recurring like.
No.
You don't want to see him again.
So dumb.
I know we just saw this recently. Did he make it?
No, he was
Okay.
vaporized by a
I was gonna
Yeah.
say he's not gonna
Right.
come back.
No.
No.
Now, in the comics, Dr. Ashley Kafka is a woman who runs the Kraven or the Ravencroft Institute, which is basically like Arkham for
Okay.
Spider-Man. Except Dr. Ashley Kafka is like an idealist who believes that she can rehabilitate her people.
Okay.
She's a good person who works very diligently and hard to protect people with mental health issues.
Right.
And like, for that, I think that's really cool. And I'm so annoyed that they were like, let's make her not just let's not just make her a guy, but let's keep the name, which is out of place for a guy. I get there's guys named Ashley, but it was originally named after a woman, so you just kept the name but made it a guy, and you made that guy a fucking clown.
Yeah.
Isn't Ashley like a British name?
Yeah.
Shouldn't he at least have been
British?
British?
Yeah, that would
No,
work.
instead he's a
German?
goddamn joke. Yeah, he was Peter Sellers in How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Atomic Bomb. In
Oh, Dr. Strangelove.
He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, my fear I can walk.
Yeah.
Like he was channeling Peter Sellers now,
Yeah.
but he ain't Peter Sellers. He's some fucking asshole.
So they just call him that name just because they wanted to use the what was it?
Well,
the
'cause
Ravencroft?
he was-
They were in Ravencroft.
They're in
They're like,
Ravencroft,
well,
and he's in charge of the institute. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, but if he was gonna die, why wouldn't you just have him die and then?
And
like,
then
you could
then
have-
you
replace
could
him with
actually
that-
use
Yeah.
character.
because they need to have the Ravencroft Institute be Arkham, be like a fucking supervillain like Play-Doh Fun Factory. Like that's what they did with that character and with that movie. Like,
Aw.
so that's bullshit, and that annoyed the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I will say that was not. I didn't care for him. That really, I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem with the movie was that I thought plot-wise, it was a mess, and I thought the tone was inconsistent
Yes.
to the point of distraction. Like it seemed to like leap. It's like you said. It
was two different movies.
It seemed to like leap from one kind of story to another, and it had 3 climactic battles at the end. One of which was featuring a whole new villain, which reminded me a lot of like Venom in Spider-Man 3.
By the way, I think it was handled better than Spider-Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Amazing Spider-Man...
definitely, yes.
I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better than Amazing Spider-Man 3 by a country fucking mile.
Yeah.
That said, that was the last movie people really remember because the Amazing Spider-Man 1 is the first Spider-Man movie I can think of where I know people who just haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I know everybody saw Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And so that's the one that everyone's thinking of. So shouldn't you do your best to try and distance yourself from those kinds of tropes?
Yeah.
Like a scene where fucking Sandman and Venom are like, we should team up. And that's we have that scene.
Yeah.
By the way, handled better. I love when Harry Osborn goes into the office with the douche.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is my pawn, Electro. And Electro's like, goosh, destroys that table. By the way, great. Like, awesome. But like, you could tell, especially because they made no secret about trying to, like, build up to make more movies and like, it just looked like they were rushing to get, like, they sacrificed something really cool, like a story and a plot, to make more of these.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're not going to. Like, they want to make a Sinister Six movie. I can tell you right now, if Spider-Man isn't the main character in a Sinister Six movie, it's going to fail.
Yeah, what would it be about?
It's about them.
Doing what? Being bad guys?
Being bad guys.
Oh, maybe
Who's
it's a
the
romantic comedy.
protagonist?
Yeah, right? It'd be a hilarious rom-com.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not seeing it. And no one's going to.
Right.
And I bet I'll bet Spider-Man will be a cameo. But I don't
understand.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, get out of this movie.
And that's not gonna work. And neither is a Black Cat movie. And neither is a J. Jonah Jameson movie. And neither is an Aunt May movie. And neither is a Ghost Uncle Ben movie.
If J. Jonah Jameson was a TV show.
I would watch this.
Yeah,
And it was called like The Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
I would watch that like nobody's business.
As long as they hired what's his name?
J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
But, like,
couldn't be about Jameson though. He would have to be the character. That
Yeah.
he's
No,
in
they
every
could do
episode,
a book. They could do a show called The Pulse, or The Pulse, which was a book by Bendis, which was about working at the Daily Bugle. It was about the characters that worked there.
Cool.
And Jameson was this douchey, like, present character. It was this force that kept showing up in the book.
Yeah.
Because I know that their attempt to Avengerize the Spider-Man franchise is going to fail, I can't get behind any of the decisions they made to facilitate that.
Okay.
And that includes making Black Cat a member of the Oscorp board, or making 6 villains that are created solely for the purpose of being villains in the movie. Like, Dr. Octopus has his own origin. He's not an Oscorp employee that signed on to be a villain in the next movie. Because that's clearly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Vulture is not that. Chameleon is not that. Like, none of those characters. I know Kraven's going to be in the next movie, by the way. And, like, that'd be great if Kraven was like, just like, I am here too, and you won't leave them alone. If the movie was that, where they're like, okay, we're gonna be Spider, he's like, and me.
Will there
like,
be
get the
a
fuck
Move
out of
Spider?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you,
He'll eat at least one spider.
Yeah.
I guarantee you will never see in any format whatsoever a scene where Kraven eats spiders, except in
That is a shame.
JMD Mateus's Kraven's Last Hunt.
Well, damn.
I guarantee you will never see it, animated or live action. Anyway.
It's a wasted opportunity.
Yeah,
It is
I
a
know.
wasted opportunity.
Yeah, he became that which he hunted after he consumed it.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant. You think about it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I feel like they said, like, by the way, like, and I know I keep going back to the spoilers, which isn't a spoiler, but like Gwen Stacy's death was handled awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was well
Like,
done.
first of all, they did it.
Yeah.
Second of all, they did it pretty well.
Yeah. And I like congratulate them also on not introducing Mary Jane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
which they
was
were
in the
kind
movie.
of
They
doing,
they cast the woman who's in that, the chick who's in that movie with Kate Winslet. That's like Brave New World / Hunger Games, but it's not Hunger Games.
Oh, Divergent?
Yeah,
Oh,
the chick who plays the protagonist in Divergent
that's
played
right.
Mary Jane.
Oh.
Shailene Woody or Woody or
I don't
something.
know.
Okay.
She played Mary Jane, and they put her in, and then the Mark Webb and the people who were making it were like, this is too soon. This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then they cut her out, and then she got in Divergent, and she's like, I'm gonna do that. And they were like, you're fired, get out.
Well, I mean,
So they actually replaced her entirely.
I feel like anyone who didn't know that Gwen was gonna die beforehand, if they introduced Mary Jane early on,
Yeah, you'd think.
you'd be like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be quite as shocking, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't be quite as impactful because you'd be like, well, he has Mary
Well,
Jane.
at least
Yeah.
I got somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Woo, back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what cinched it for me, Gwen's death, when he said, I'm coming to England with you. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not.
I honestly kept
Yeah.
questioning if they were gonna do it, if they weren't gonna do
Yeah,
it. Like,
those two.
I kept flip flopping.
When he said he's going, I'm like, you're not going.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, nobody's going in.
Well, I still wasn't sure because like I wasn't
Like
entirely
maybe she'll break up with him
well,
and stuff. Like,
that, or I wasn't entirely certain if she would end up going to England because she could have just been like, I'm not gonna go.
yeah.
Like we could have
Yeah.
totally
Oh,
turned
yeah.
around and turned it
Yeah.
into a chick flick kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how committed the filmmakers were to following that storyline.
Yeah.
Right.
Like how comfortable they felt with killing off like
Right.
the love interest like that.
Right. Especially
Yeah.
one that works so well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and their chemistry is
Yeah.
undeniable.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. So like
So
they're
it's really-
risking.
It was a
it's
bold
risk.
decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah. It was cool.
Which
Like,
they're not going to get any credit for, by the way. Except when people are like, you had to do it.
right.
Like, fans who
Oh,
don't give a
I
crap
heard
about the
fans
continuity.
complaining where they were like, is there going to be a place where Gwen doesn't die? And I'm like, how about fucking shut up? How about Jesus Christ? I was just reading an argument, or somebody posted this, and
It's
they,
actually there is.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah, there's fucking Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, she did die.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's clone, but like, whatever. There's Chris Straub from Chainsaw Suit and Brood Hollow posted a thing. He said, "This is the internet in a nutshell," and it was a screen grab that he took from Facebook of the new TV series for The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
The new trailer came out. Another trailer came out, and the comment was like, "Boy, I hope that the effects get better because the speed effect looks pretty shoddy." And it was just like, shut the fuck up, man. Did you ever think that they were ever going to do a Flash show? And he's dressed like the fucking Flash. He's not dressed in, like, J. Crew clothes and running to, like, fuck a chick. It's like, it's not some bullshit CW crap. It's a fucking movie or show about the Flash.
Right.
Be happy you got it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the fuck is
And
wrong
you
with
better watch.
Yeah, and you better watch because it's going to get fucking canceled. Like, there's a show, Gotham. It's about Gotham. It's about Jim Gordon and Bullock and all these people, and it takes place when Bruce Wayne's parents just get killed, and that's the show. And it's gonna be a crime drama about Gotham. It's gonna be on Fox. So 6 episodes and it's gonna be over. Like, I think that yeah. So I mean, like, I'm not gonna watch because I know it's gonna be canceled, and that's like that. By the way, that means that you have a failed television network. If I can't, if I'm not gonna watch a show that's made for me because I know you're gonna cancel it,
Right.
and that in effect makes it canceled,
Right.
you failed as a network.
Yeah.
But like, what the fuck is wrong with fans today? Like, my people are like the most picky. Like, they've been so spoiled. Like, do you remember Judge Dredd? Like, do you remember J.D. Salinger's son being Captain America? Do you remember buying bootleg copies of the 1970s Spider-Man TV show because that's the only fucking thing you have?
Yeah.
Do you remember Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the cartoon show? I do. I have tapes. Because that was the only way I was going to watch Spider-Man animated. And now I'm bitching about the fact that they killed Gwen Stacy, but fucking Electro was silly. Like, I'm lucky I get anything.
Yeah.
But that said, Marvel Studios is making movies that like they love what they're doing. They know what they're doing and they love it. And like they're not slavishly devoted to the continuity. They're only if Marvel Studios is slavishly devoted to anything, it is the integrity of their characters.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's all they do, then that's enough.
Yeah.
Because they get real people. Like DC and Warner Brothers, they were like David S. Goyer, who wrote Blade Trinity, and something else, some other garbage. He wrote the screenplay for Batman Begins. That was a success. So they hired him to do the screenplay for Batman Dark Knight, which was a huge success.
Right.
So naturally, he was the screenwriter for Batman Dark Knight Rises, which made as much money because people were so excited about the last one.
Right.
Yeah.
So naturally, he's got to write more fucking comic book movies for DC. And naturally, we got to get Christopher Nolan to be a producer, if not a director, because those are the guys who make the good comic book movies.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, all of Warner Brothers' comic book movies are, with the exception of Green Lantern, are apologies for comic books. Like, I'm sorry that we have to make a Batman movie, but we ran out of Harry Potter books, and like I promise you, he's not in it a lot. And I'm sorry that we have to make a Superman movie, but we need a movie that's gonna.
Did you see? Hang on. There was another question.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's just a comment that they didn't even bother to change Ashley Kafka's name when they changed his gender.
Yeah, they didn't like. And I get that like there is a guy named like Ashley can be a guy or a girl's name, but the name of the character of Ashley Kafka was named after a girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, wouldn't it have been more impressive for you to cast more females in your fucking superhero movie anyway?
Yeah. That was a
really weird decision. I want to say it was some fucking douchebag like Avi Arad. And I keep blaming Avi Arad because Avi Arad's been Marvel's executive producer. He's like the Rick Berman or the Rick McCullum of Marvel shows and TV stuff and movies since the 90s.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is Todd McFarlane doing now, art-wise, other than toys? I know he does toys.
He occasionally will do covers for Spawn.
But that's it.
Oh.
Spawn's still going?
Spawn is still running.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you watch my 2-part Spawn special?
I might have watched one part.
Well, clearly you didn't watch part 2 because nobody's watching part 2.
I don't care about Spawn!
Part 2 is better than part 1.
Yeah.
It has Batman Spawn in it.
Yeah.
And it's so much more fun to watch.
Yeah. You should definitely watch it.
Trust me, it's so much more fun.
There's a couple other comments. Going back to the Spider-God thing. This is Terminal Noob again. Funnily enough, the Spider-God also appears in the recent Scarlet Spider.
Yeah! Oh, what I never got a chance to mention was that Spider-God thing. Like, Peter Parker's like, maybe not. But no, really. He is. And Spider-Man's like, no, I'm not going to do the Spider-God thing. And Spider-God's like, that's okay, there's like a million Spider people. So he picks like the clone. He's like, how about you? And Kane's like, sure. So, he's like part of the other totemic bullshit.
Does Kane act like Bizarro Superman?
Kane is like if Peter Parker were raised by an alcoholic dad.
Okay.
So he's kind of just a dick. Like, Kane's like, oh, look over there. There's a fucking chick getting mugged. She hot? No? That's too bad.
Okay.
Like,
so he's like the most realistic superhero.
Yeah. His tagline is all the power, none of the responsibility.
I like that.
It's like if a bro.
Yeah. He is, and he got a buzz cut, and he fucking got tats, and he's like, yeah, fucking Spider-Man. Yeah. But like, it's still Peter Parker. It's like all of his memories and shit. But he's also like a murderer and a dickhead, and he was raised by the Jackal, and he's like.
Are his tattoos spider themed?
Yeah, they're spider themed. I don't remember.
He should be.
He doesn't have like a sleeve or anything. He's just.
Does it say like a spiderweb sleeve?
He should have a fucking tramp stamp of a spider.
Eternal Noob also said, I guess the Scarlet Spider was where they dumped all these almost forgotten storylines.
Yeah. Well, I think the writer was Christos Gage, and if it wasn't, it was Chris Yost. Either one of them, I can say this about. Chris Yost wrote episodes of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He gets every character in the Marvel Universe. He loves the Marvel Universe and its continuity and stories, and he does everything he can to tell a fun story that is steeped in Marvel continuity. So, like, either one of them would have, took Scarlet Spider and was like, I can tell a fun original story, but as a challenge for myself and as a gift to my readers, I will keep it steeped in continuity. He's the guy, okay, so in Civil War, Spider-Man reveals himself to everybody, right? He tells everybody he's Peter Parker. They didn't know that later on he's going to make a deal with the devil and put that genie back in the bottle. So Chris Yost was telling a story, or Christos Gage, I can't recall, I'm sorry. But either one of them was telling a story about, what's the matter?
Oh, he's watching us.
Oh, yeah. Is telling a story about how, Tony Stark created that, Iron Spider-Man costume for Spider-Man. When he ditched Iron Man, Tony Stark had all these Spider-Man costumes, these Iron Spider-Man costumes. Oh. So he hired a whole bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and he put them in the Spider-Man costumes. Oh. And he called them the Scarlet Spider Brigade. Oh. And those guys had the ability, because they had, holographic technology and shit, they wound up, as part of some story that spun out of Civil War, they wound up impersonating Peter Parker so it looked like there were like 8 or 9 Peter Parkers. So it wove in doubt in the public consciousness as to whether Peter Parker was Spider-Man or a Scarlet Spider.
So they
So
did
it was-
like a Spartacus?
Yeah. So it was it was Yost or Gage's way of saying like of being like if we need to explain that if we need Peter Parker to basically have plausible deniability, here it is. Like if we ever need to make him have his secret identity back, like I'm making it happen.
Okay.
And then the devil made magic happen. But like but he's already setting in the groundwork to make that happen in continuity.
Right.
So everything happened anyway.
Right, that's
Right.
cool.
He loves that stuff. So Scarlet Spider is, if you loved the Clone Saga or any aspect of it, or you loved The Other, which by the way, Spider-Man The Other is some of the worst shit ever. All the Spider God shit, but so hackneyed and bad, and we will do a whole episode one day about Spider-Man The Other. But damn. But yeah, but Scarlet Spider is like all the shit nobody wanted to do with Spider-Man anymore. And Straczynski, who wrote that and created that stuff, he left in such a huff over the devil dealing. He'll never get to do that. So that's the only time you're gonna get to see that shit. So yeah.
One more comment from Channel Noob. Rick Berman, Rick McCullum, what is it with bricks?
Fuck you, Rick Berman.
Hey, that ain't Rick Berman.
Not a Rick Berman. Rick McCullum. We've had this conversation with him. Where the fuck did he come from, right? What did he
Who
produce?
is this guy?
He produced the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and then all of the prequels and the re-releases. Like,
in other words, he was George Lucas's friend.
yeah, he was some fucker who like showed up on the set one day of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and he's like, and George was like, how about Indiana Jones punches this guy and his head hits the other guy's head and they just bonk heads for a while like a cartoon. And everyone's like, no, George, we're not gonna do that. Moving on. And Rick went, why not? Why not?
George wants to do it.
George created it last time I checked. Good idea. What's your name there, son? Rick McCullum. Rick McCullum, why don't you take a seat right next to Papa George?
Oh my god.
I almost believe wholeheartedly that's exactly what fucking happened. Yeah. It's so dense. Every frame. Wait,
it's so clear he's
it's
in
so
over.
dense. Every frame is just so cool.
Just so dense.
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
When they're watching that scene, when they're watching the fucking episode 1 unfold, and he's like,
he's watching it like this.
yeah. Oh my god. What have I done? I don't know anything.
I'm in over my head.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know this was what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I saw all of it.
I've been here every day, and I have no idea. Speaking of Star Wars, so they just started shooting episode 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read.
Yeah, one person on this couch can be excited because she's not as.
I don't know, Jack, so.
We're all like, yay.
Daryl's like, movie! Yay!
Fucking.
For the first 3, it'll be great.
I read a article that was like, Wedge Antilles is not going to be in the movie.
Oh, this is really.
Damn it! Whatever.
They asked him to be in the movie, and he said no.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
Motherfucker said, that sounded boring to me, so I told them no. And I'm like, fuck you, Wedge Antilles.
That sounded boring?
Like, no fucking way. And apparently in 2001 or 2...
Being in a movie?
Yeah, being in a movie, since the last time I checked, you were in a movie in 1983. Yeah. That was the last time. So, like, but apparently he, in 2001 or 2, they asked him if they ever did any sequels, would he be in them? And he said only if they made his character much bigger.
Which, I mean, they could have.
Which, by the way, is why Panaka from episode 1 was not in episode 2.
Alright.
Because that guy from fucking Walker, Texas Ranger or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not from Walker, Texas
I think he
Ranger.
is, isn't he? Panaka is a real actor who's from, like, stupid TV shows.
Do you mean Matlock's sidekick?
No, that's Conrad McMasters.
I know!
And he was in... What else was Conrad in? He was in Die Hard.
Yes. I thought that's what you were referring to.
No.
But he's also not the... Wait, from Walker, Texas Ranger?
Yeah, I know that's also Conrad.
Yeah.
McMasters from Matlock.
Terminal Noob said 5 minutes ago said it was Chris Yost. Who was Chris
Thank you. Chris Yost was the guy who wrote Scarlet Spider.
Oh, okay.
And put in all the Scarlet Spider stuff from Civil War. Thank you. Yeah, fucking, but like, Wedge Antilles said no. And I was like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah. I think they really were. They were like not counting on it.
Yeah,
Like,
Tiffany had an idea that was like they had a list.
But let's do like, all right, look, we're pretty sure we have to ask everybody, of course. We're pretty sure we're gonna get the following people. Like we're pretty sure Mark's gonna be in it. Pretty sure we can get Carrie. Not 100% on Harrison just yet.
Yeah.
But we are gonna get Peter Mayhew.
Wait, Peter Mayhew. You know we're gonna get Anthony Danielle,
Frank Oz, Kenny Baker.
and we're pretty sure we're gonna get Wedge Antilles. All right.
Yeah.
Let's make some phone calls. Hey, Wedge said no.
What about Porkins? Is Porkins available?
Well,
Porkins is fucking.
I know.
Do you even know anything about Star Wars?
No, Porkins is fucking dead. Okay. Or what about Luke's friend from the farm? That's Biggs Darklighter, and he died too. Wedge is the only one who survived. It's Wedge and Luke. They're the only ones who survived all the fucking space battles.
No,
What about Dak?
There's some guy in a Y-wing survived.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
What about Dak? Dak died too.
Was that?
Did he make all of them?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
You
No,
could've
I just know he
survived all of
survived.
No,
Yeah.
only
I don't
Wedge
think he was in the
survived.
other one.
No,
Well, then
only
he
Wedge
didn't make
survived
it.
all.
You don't know that. You don't even know who survived in the first one. It was the Y-wing. You
We
just
know.
see it flying away. You don't see
Oh, I
it.
know. No, I'm saying no. Well, anyway.
Those Y-wings had nothing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they weren't even in the last one.
Yeah.
He had to retire because his
No,
ship
Y-wings were in the last one.
Because the ship
Yeah,
was
but only
out
for like a
of date.
second.
No.
There were also A-wings and
That's
B-wings,
anymore.
but we didn't see shit. Oh, there was actually a deleted scene in Return of the Jedi where we see fucking Mon Calamari and B-wing pilots.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's really weird.
That's
Because you see like Admiral Akbar in like a blue hat, and he's like, "Oh no!"
I just always assumed they were really big, so like wouldn't you
Yeah,
be like
I
squished
assumed
in
there'd be
there?
no
Like,
way to fit them in
you're
there.
just like, okay.
He just looks like a regular pilot, just like, ah.
And that's where if you
awesome.
had like 6 more tentacles, it'd be really, you'd be like,
Oh
Yeah, like I'm bebopping and scatting all over this.
I didn't
thing
even
now.
need an astromech droid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Wedge said no, which also means that, like, at least as far as I'm concerned, like, it means that I'll never get Wedge Antilles to sign my fucking Empire Strikes Back poster. Because if he said no to being in Star Wars, there's no way he's going to say yes to sitting behind a card table and signing fucking pictures of himself.
No.
Well, someday.
But yeah, maybe one day he'll be like, I should have said yes.
Well, we were talking about this. I mean, like, I don't know, it was a long time ago. You could almost cast anyone in it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Wedge's
Like,
old now.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't really remember what Wedge looks like. Maybe we can get somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, they could definitely.
He just looks like a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
You said no?
way to do that.
Doesn't mean Wedge Antilles isn't in the movie.
Meanwhile, where the hell is Lando?
Yeah. Where's Lando?
Lando's going to be a voice in that Rebels cartoon show.
Yes.
The animated, like the
Really?
digital.
He's going to play Lando.
Yeah, he's going to be in that.
But he's not in the
But
movie.
he's not in the movie right now.
And I saw Billy D. Williams
Maybe he's
tweet.
holding out.
No.
I saw
you
Billy D.
didn't
Williams
ask him.
tweet a hashtag bring back Lando.
Like, what the hell's...
That doesn't. Why?
Are you sure? Maybe they did. He just.
Maybe
they
he's.
give up enough
He could
money,
also be
it's like-
playing it. He could also be like.
Yeah.
He could have said no for the right money and then been like, yeah, why? Like,
Yeah. Why
to-
aren't they? Yeah.
drumming up more support for
Yeah.
Lando.
To like force.
Yeah,
them
force their
to-
hand, like,
Yeah.
hey, where's Lando? It's like, well, we might as well give him what they want and
Yeah.
pay the fucking
Yeah.
exorbitant fee that Lando
Maybe
wants.
maybe Lando and Wedge went on an adventure like Legolas and Gimli did
Yeah.
at the end of
Yeah, at the end of Return of the Jedi, Lando and Wedge are like,
They go to the glittering cave.
of what's a nebula that fucking exists in the Star Wars universe.
They go to Kessel. Where
Yeah, they go to the
Sin
spice
is
mines of
mine.
Kessel.
Yeah. It is glittering if you read. I don't remember which. fucking
Well, it doesn't
trivia
matter
it was.
anymore.
Matter, it's over.
Yeah.
That's right. It's all erased. But
Yeah.
they can use whatever they want. From
That's
it.
true. They can
It
pick and
kills-
choose.
It does kill me that Shadows of the Empire
Is not.
is not canon anymore.
I don't
I
think
bet
they
it
ruled that
is.
out. I think they ruled out specifically the ones that were after.
Okay,
Because Shadows
because that
was made by Lucasfilm. Like, that's
Yeah.
like a studio
yeah,
book.
that
Yeah.
one like that's my favorite.
Yeah, I believe the way because I was thinking about that too. I was like, wait, did they? And then I read more carefully like,
Okay.
exactly what they said.
Does
Yeah,
that
it
mean-
seemed like it was all the.
And they might as well have just said
It's only
anything.
the post, so
the-
anything prior to is also still.
No.
I mean, Death Troopers is
No, no.
still.
I don't think they. I don't think they even addressed the others, so it's like maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not.
They might as well have just said anything by Timothy Zahn is bullshit.
It's literally like we had to make.
What's the
room.
point
Yeah.
anymore?
Constraints,
No.
like anything that happened after.
And they're right.
Yeah.
Are they just trying to get rid of specifically like?
Thrawn.
Yeah.
Probably.
No, they're trying to get rid of all the shit.
Well, of Chewie's death.
And like
Chewie's
the
death.
multiple.
And Jan and Jason.
Because
So
weren't there also like Emperor clones?
Emperor clones, those were in the comics.
Oh, they want to get rid of Jorah. They want to get rid of Jorah's Kaboath.
Yeah, there was like a bunch of Emperor clones and like his.
Luke turns to the fucking dark side.
Yeah.
Hang on, the Emperor clones. I think what happens is remember that big explosion thing
When Vader throws the Emperor.
It's like his soul that goes out and then it goes to the next
his
clone.
Yeah, because he cloned himself in case he ever died.
Because the Emperor is terrified of death.
Yeah.
Well, because
how ironic.
he's not. He's he didn't get the power of Darth.
Yeah.
Plagueis.
Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? He became so powerful.
I mean, how wise is he?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'll even refer some people from dying. Let's not talk about Star Wars anymore.
No.
So anyway, comics, everybody. That was
Yeah.
so Torment, Spider-Man
Yeah.
Torment. Any other questions, really quick, in the comments? Make
Let's
sure
check
we're not.
real quick.
Yeah, check
I
out.
don't think so.
Fair enough. Who's in?
I don't even know if anyone's left. Let's see.
You know what? It's so ridiculous. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
What,
guess
oh,
it's
this
like
book?
Oh, the art is
All right,
so
like-
boss.
All right, let's give some pros.
Okay,
Yeah.
pros. All of Spider-Man's poses are cool.
The poses are good. When he's got the mask on, it looks good.
Great. Yep. I love the design of the.
3 viewers. We got 3
All right.
Thank you, Aaron, Peter, and Ben for watching the show.
Or whoever else.
Yeah,
is
thanks
there.
to a couple guys
yeah.
commented.
Yeah.
I love the design of the lizard.
Yeah,
It's a
looks-
total
Yeah, the
redesign.
lizard looks badass.
yeah, he's cool.
Can we just agree that all the positive things are going to be art related?
Yeah. Yes, because like the panels,
Yeah.
the experimentation
Yeah,
with the
new
panels
panels.
is cool. I mean, like, but sometimes it's like as a con, it's all over the place.
really
Like the
You
art,
cannot tell.
you just
Yeah.
pack it too much into it sometimes.
I like the madness illustrating caption box layout where it like trickles down.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's like...
I like
Yeah,
that a
that's
lot.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something that like
It's intended to convey a feeling
Yeah.
that you can't
Yes.
convey any other way.
Capullo and Snyder do it in the new Batman book during the Court of Owls story arc. Batman's going crazy, and the page, like you turn the page and it's this way, and then it's this way. Like so, you have to turn.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, and
Yeah.
like while Batman's going
It's like
nuts.
the camera doing this.
Yeah.
There are certain things that Sal hands me, and I never know which way it's gonna go. Like I read Kraven's Last Hunt, and
you were like,
I completely forgot. I
you were
blocked
so
it
mad
out
at
of my
me.
mind.
You're like,
This was a trick.
yeah, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, because he's
The
handed me
April
things like the
Fools.
Long Halloween and All Star Superman, and like they're great. And then he handed me Kraven's
You're gonna
Last
love
Hunt,
this
and
one.
I'm like, okay. And I literally like when he mentioned him eating spiders, that's when I remembered it. Like I blocked all of that out.
Yeah.
Triggered
I
it.
forgot he shot himself.
Yeah.
I just was like, nope, let's
Yeah.
just throw this away.
Yeah.
But he handed me the Court of Owls, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
cool.
well, I'm not a huge like I like certain like the Batman stories. I'm not big into the longer runs of it. Like
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Long Halloween, like that kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
really consolidated.
Batman Year One, Dark
Yeah.
Returns.
But that blew me away.
Yeah.
Blew me away. I couldn't.
Yeah. Scott Snyder knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I
His-
like.
Yeah.
I also like because he also
He
does
did American
Vampire.
Vampire. Yeah. He's good.
Anything else to like about this book?
No.
Her awesome
Oh,
boobage.
The Kraven design.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
so common now that I can't even give them
No.
props for that.
There was
Putting
more.
the eyes over the boobs.
There was
fun.
more bubage in Secret Invasion.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this is
91.
yeah.
Yeah. At the time, I'm sure it was.
I don't know who it was at the
I
time.
mean, they all had big boobs.
Yeah.
Even then.
Oh yeah.
But she's like, she's barely. She looks naked because the color on her.
yeah.
shirt
Yeah.
is
Because the
same
coloring's
as
so
her
bad.
skin.
Yeah, but yeah, I do like the eyes.
And the eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my eyes are down here. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a lot of cons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly.
It's a mess.
It is a
It's
mess.
mess.
Yeah, if you got to experience it for yourself though.
Yeah.
I'd say
It's a
Yeah.
hot.
Yep.
if you get the chance.
Yeah.
If-
Borrow.
Laura, go to the local library.
They probably have it.
might have it.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you could just drop these things off there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You could like your mom might find this and be like,
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
What?
Yeah.
no,
I'm going insane.
Yes.
You
That's
are
the
going
idea.
insane. Yeah. Todd McFarlane's like, thank you.
Yeah. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of
Summon
that
him.
fucking Ultimate Warrior comic.
Where everything's getting good and folked.
Yeah, where it's just like all like
the ramblings of a madman
and bizarre.
Yeah. That Ultimate Warrior comic. Go to fucking imockery.com and check out Proto Clown's summary of the Warrior. Ultimate Warrior, before he died, wrote this comic, and it is drawn by somebody who wants to be Rob Liefeld / Todd McFarlane so bad, but he sucks. So it's just, it looks insane, and it's written by a lunatic.
Yep.
And it's about himself.
Yep.
And it's so fucking crazy. But you don't want to read it yourself. You want to read Proto Clown's.
Yeah, don't read it.
No, read Proto Clown's summary of it, because
Yeah,
it's so
it's
much better.
hilarious.
It's so funny.
Awesome.
I wonder what this book would be like without any words.
It's more or less is without words.
I know. Well, that's how I'm reading it because I'm like, this is so.
Yeah, there's a book.
Words are like,
There's a book I just picked up yesterday. It's the last screenplay written by Jim Henson, and it's called Tale of Sand.
Oh, you got that?
No, I just looked at it.
Oh.
It is drawn by Ramon Perez, who is drawing Spider-Man 1.1 Learning to Crawl right now. The art and that's meh, but like he also draws a webcomic called Kookaburra, which is fucking awesome. And he drew Tale of Sand. That was the decision of Archaea Books and the adapter of that screenplay to make it mostly wordless, and it's a nonsensical fever dream, and it is incomprehensible. It is beautifully bound, the art is gorgeous, and I don't know what the fuck is happening. It is incomprehensible. And it has no words.
Alright.
Like, there's, like, every 18 pages, there's a panel where someone's saying something, but it's not related to the plot. And sometimes there's script notes, like fading through the pages, and you're like...
Is it like, it's kind of like surrealist?
It's very surreal. Absolutely. And if I wanted to take the time to, like, pour over it and fucking analyze it, I might get it. But I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
Okay.
I wanted to read a Ramon K. Perez drawn adaptation of a fucking Jim Henson script, not do a homework assignment.
I didn't want to think.
No, I don't mind thinking. I think all the time. But
I know,
especially when I need to like eat or cook or shower. But I don't want to do it when I'm reading my comics. I want to be like, oh, Spider-Man, autopilot. Torment Lizard looks awesome. So yeah, Spider-Man Torment, all by Todd McFarlane.
Yep.
All of it.
There's other people. I mean, like he didn't color it or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd McFarlane.
There you go.
Spider-Man Torments. There you go, everybody. It's a live episode of Back
tuning in,
Issues.
those of you who
This
did.
is what every episode of Back Issues looks like before I edit it.
Hang on, real quick.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane participated in the coloring. He's one of 3 colorists.
Jesus!
3 people to color that shit.
Yeah.
They all color
Damn
at
it.
the same time.
That's what happens.
That's so
What
good.
happened?
You take the red, you take the blue, I'll take the
All
yellow.
right.
Yeah. Holy crap. Yup.
Makes a lot of sense.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
Alright, sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, this is what the show looks like when I don't edit it.
Right.
So when you get like a 40-minute episode of Back Issues, know that a lot more came out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not being self-indulgent. I took a lot out of that episode. That said, I just finished editing our most recent episode of Back Issues. You can catch that on Thursday. That will be coming out. We fucked up our shooting of Off the Rack, so we're going to do pickups on Sunday.
Yeah.
But those should come out on time. We have Tiffany Danielle here, who are heading up our other show, which is called Bonus Round, our video game playthrough show. You guys want to talk about that? Plug it a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure. Premise is, I play video games now. I love video games. But when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to have them, so I missed out on NES, Super NES, Sega, all of them. I had a Game Boy with 3 games. I had Tetris, and I had Kirby, and I had a Simpsons game, and I wasn't into the Simpsons. So Danielle, who loved classic video games, is now taking me on a journey through
Into madness.
into madness.
Much like this.
Yes.
It is your
I'm
torment.
tormenting you with classic
yeah,
games.
of
Yeah.
classic
You're
video games. So you can come along with me and watch someone as an adult try to play these games
For the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we've got there's a big moth in here. So we've got that coming out too. So we look forward to doing more of those and hearing comments and questions and whatever.
And suggestions on
Yes.
games that she should play.
Yes,
Yes.
give me
Yeah.
suggestions.
Yeah, what do you want
My
to see?
fate's in her
Yeah.
hands.
You got a shitty game?
Yours.
Why does it gotta be shit? No,
Because that's the
It's
funniest.
so much more fun.
Danielle wants it to be.
I like to mix them up
Yeah.
sometimes.
You know,
DuckTales isn't the worst game ever.
no.
No.
But Ninja Turtles
Trust me.
might be.
Yeah.
Every time I play them, I feel like it is, and then
Yeah.
something worse comes,
Yes.
or I remember.
Tiffany has
something.
never played Battletoads. Redditors. Just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to send us a copy of
You want to
Battletoads.
torture Tiffany.
Yeah. But Battletoads is cool. I actually would.
Yeah.
Like, and the gameplay changes, like depending on the level you're playing. It's really cool. But yeah, bonus round is our video game playthrough show.
Eventually, we'd like to start. We're gonna try to do some more modern stuff, and we were even considering doing a kind of like the off the rack game,
Yes.
where we get a
Sure.
demo of an indie game, and we both will play through it, and then we'll review for you and tell you what we think about
Yeah, I
it.
love that. I think that's a great idea. Let's see. Oh, you can check out previous episodes of bonus round on our channel at TV Little House. Just go on over to YouTube.
Yeah, come watch me scream at things. 'Cause
Exactly.
I get really
Yeah,
loud.
we did Batman 1989. We did DuckTales
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Ninja Turtles,
Friday the
Friday the
13th.
and Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
All of them are fun. And it's great because Tiffany doesn't know how to pogo stick
Okay.
in
She doesn't have the
DuckTales.
manual,
I
and
didn't
you were
have the
used to
manual.
need the manual.
You did need the
Yeah.
manual.
Well, I could imagine as a kid I wouldn't have read the manual anyway.
Yeah, you would've just
As
popped it in and-
millions of children did.
But then we would like after like the 800th death on level 3, we're like, okay, let me see the shit.
I do
What am I supposed to be doing?
Eventually, we got the manual, and I did read the manual, and the game got a lot easier.
Yeah.
But to be fair, when I was playing Batman, I punched my way through half of a level before I realized I had bad brains.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
kind of important.
yeah. So bonus round is coming back. We're looking forward to seeing more of that. Got an episode or 2 under our belts, so that should be coming out next week, I think.
Yes.
So yeah, you can look forward to Monday through Wednesday off the rack. Maybe Thursday or Friday we'll put out bonus round, and of course back issues episode 9 will be coming out. 10 if you count part 2 of Spawn.
Right.
But
Which I like to.
I like to, but I didn't call it that when I wrote it, so But anyway, so technically episode 10 of bonus round back issues will be coming out. 2 shows with 2 words that all start with B.
Bonus round back.
Wait, to be fair, bonus round.
Did come
They
first.
come first. That's
But
right.
if we had a change, we would, because you have more followers.
That's true. Yeah, thanks a lot for making
Yeah, that's
House of M
awesome.
our most watched
That is awesome.
show.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
I seriously look forward to seeing what else you guys are going to do.
Thank you. I look
And I
forward to
really
doing
hope
it
that
myself.
sometime we can do some sort of video game crossover.
I'd love to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a crossover. I'd like to see guest stars on back issues or bonus round. Yeah. What was I going to say? There was a question I was going to ask.
Almost technically, this is kind of a crossover.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
It
a
is a
crossover.
crossover. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Back issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do a bonus round crossover.
Ah.
Yes.
Game.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, actually.
We should do a 4-way, like some kind of like multiplayer game.
Oh, that you've all played, and I'm like,
Yeah, like Duke Nukem 3D or Quake.
I've never played Quake.
Oh.
Be awesome.
Everybody else can practice.
Yeah. It's the sound he makes when he jumps.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. 9 Inch Nails did the music for that game,
That's
and it's
cool. That's
awesome.
cool.
You just hear Trent Reznor going like throughout the fucking level. And like you get a gun called a nail gun, and you pick it up in a box of nails, but it has the 9 Inch Nails logo on it.
Oh.
By the way, no money went to them. It was just
They
were
just liked
like,
it.
They love Doom, and they were like, "What's next?" And they're like, Quake.
Cool.
Done.
I kind of wish I hadn't played Doom. I have played Doom.
Doom.
But only because it was on the 360 arcade.
Yeah. She's good at it too. It's not bad.
I'm not great at it. I'm very good at killing my friends, though.
Yeah. That's what you play for.
Yes.
So yeah, it's our live episode of Back Issues. I want to thank you all for watching and for making. Oh, that's right, making the House of M our most watched episode ever. Just out of curiosity, what's your favorite show or episode or video on the channel right now?
You asking us?
Yeah.
Cats are facing off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Favorite show or episode?
Yeah.
Favorite show
Favorite
or
video.
episode?
Favorite video on our channel.
Favorite video.
I have one video.
Well, yeah, all the specials are great, but I don't want to count those because it's just
Yeah.
that's such an obvious easy answer as it's like our holiday specials. If you want to just see us.
Yeah, if you just want to see us fucking around in a scripted format, the holiday specials. That was one of the one I was gonna pick was probably Twas the Night Before Yesterday.
Yeah.
It's our second holiday special.
Yeah.
I do like Judgment Day.
Judgment Day is
but like actual shows. I mean, I gotta be honest. I love the con coverage.
Yeah.
I always think that that's so much fun. But I love your discussions. As much as I love back issues, there's something about Off the Rack that I really like a lot. Yeah. I don't know if that's just because I'm getting 3 different opinions about everything. Yeah. But the back issues, I love it because I have a cursory knowledge of comics, but like it's just you guys think of questions I wouldn't normally ask, and that gets me questioning things as well. So, I mean, like the Spawn one was fun. But I'm not a huge Spawn. I mean, like I learned about Spawn, but like it didn't make me.
Enough for you to watch the second episode.
That's my favorite fucking note that we ever get. It's like, you had such a great episode of Back Issues the other day. I didn't finish.
Yeah.
I think my favorite. I think I really do like the first episode of Back Issues where you guys are just getting into it. Like, there's so many fun things in that one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Like everything's so like Yeah,
it's cool.
That was the one I had the most prep for. I thumbed through that book for a while.
That's true. Yeah.
And we'd actually discussed some of the stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
Decided to film it.
Yeah.
Regardless of like the content of like what you actually were discussing, like the 3 of you, I think, like not that you were at your best, but like I don't know, there were just so many fun things that were said there. And like Danielle and I were actually in the room while we were filming that. We were playing video games and trying really hard not to laugh.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I think for me that's my favorite.
Yeah. Cool. My favorite is I think it's so dumb. The reason it's so dumb, but it's not the latest. It was Off the Rack Original Sin.
Yeah.
I like it because it captures a moment between me and Ben where we're having an argument about the helmets.
Yeah.
And he's like criticizing the helmets, and I'm like, well, it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, who cares?
Like, it could be anything. It's comic. And you just like cut out everything.
I cut out 12-minute back and forth and distilled it into one moment where Ben.
Well, I just tell him he's wrong and it doesn't matter.
You go. Well, did you build it? Yeah. Did you build it? Because
like, they can't put the atmosphere back in there. Like, how do you know? Did you build it?
and then I go, okay.
Yeah. And it's just a great, clean, quick episode.
That's true. Thank you. Yeah, I like. Yeah, I'm very happy with how Off the Rack is coming. We are new intros and stuff.
Yeah.
So you two?
Go ahead.
It's not typically like a episode, but like I'm really enjoying like Sal Says What because you're jumping all over to different kinds of comics. Like I think you just did like what was it, Revelations?
I did Revelations.
Which I saw, and I thought like I looked like the art looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
I have issue 1.
Yeah.
So if you want it, you can borrow it.
Yeah, and then your review, and I was like, you read some really interesting points.
Thank you.
Really cool.
When I have a prompter, those are way better. I write everything in those prompters, but I'm thinking about bringing back Sal Says What and making it into like a more like opinion-based show that doesn't necessarily always talk about comics.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Or like branch out. Still keep it like 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
But, like,
Absolutely.
Talk about other things. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff you can talk about.
Also, I could shoot it here.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Because just time.
Yeah.
I really like our coverage of Funny Free Comic Book Day, Funny Books, Comics, and stuff. I like how it looks.
The interviews were a lot.
The interviews really I feel like it looks the most like a commercial show.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or coverage rather.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of ideas about how to cover like new shows and new conventions. So
definitely.
Try that one right now.
Cool.
Is it? Just for us personally, because it hasn't come out yet. The second game that we played is probably going to be my favorite episode of Bonus Round.
Yeah, ever.
The frustration and the anger are at an all-time high.
It's a thing of beauty.
But there's also these great moments of absolute joy.
Yeah.
But I think that's the one where I drop the F word more times ever. But there's one that I do where it's like I just remember saying it and I was so exasperated. So it's just so genuine. That's how upset I am.
Yep.
With one,
So you access to the true fuck. It's very rare.
So I look forward to.
It's funny how you missed so much of video games and how that's like a loss to you, but at the same time you missed so much aggro.
I did.
Because the game used to be so goddamn frustrating.
And they didn't know what they were doing. There was no video game theory.
Yep.
They were just trying shit.
I know.
They were just like, well, maybe they jump.
But that's what I think. That's part of the reason I want to do it. Like, I want to go on this journey. I want to get.
Yeah.
I want to get it. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to see it change
say that
over
now.
time. I do. I do.
It helps that you're on a computer and you can't. There's no controller to destroy.
Well, there it is.
Oh yeah, no, they play with
yeah.
a controller.
I have an NES controller.
Yeah,
like
it's
I'm getting the full. And trust me, like.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You want to bite it?
I do want to bite it, but it's
Throw it.
Danielle, so I won't.
I know.
Yeah.
We're mine.
helps.
That thing got
Yeah.
chucked
Like-
so many times across the room. It's
Going through being raised on video games, like I remember when my dad showed up one day on Christmas morning and he was like, "Here you go," and it was a Nintendo, and it was the hippest my dad has ever been. 1989,
that was it.
1988 was the hippest my dad has ever been. He's like, "I brought you a Nintendo Entertainment System." I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?" I was like 5, and I'm like, "What?" But from that, going through video games and like not really giving a shit about video games, but playing them a lot, like not making it be like this defines me. It was just a thing that I did to pass the time.
Yeah.
And then meeting like Tim and having him be like, no, video games are important. Here's why, and then making that be part of it. But basically every 5 years or so going, video games are never going to look any better than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being proven wrong, and being proven so wrong.
Yeah.
A year later.
And then you feel like an idiot when you look back and you think for a second and you're like, Turok Rage Wars. That was the pinnacle.
I used to just do shit.
Amazing.
The first Turok game from N64, I used to just like there was a portable nuke gun. You just shot it and it was a nuke. It was a nuke.
Yep.
And I used to shoot it at the sun to make it look like the world was coming to an end, and it really looked like the world was coming to an end. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yep.
And I wanted to do more things to just I wanted to be more destructive and a world that looked more real.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of crazy. I think but I liked.
Where are you going with that?
No, well, just I liked
I just like destroying the world.
I just like destroying it, but
Guys,
like,
I need help.
Yeah.
Help.
No, like I remember. You remember the pipe bomb in Duke Nukem 3D?
Yes.
Like where like it was the first gun where you're like you have a pipe bomb, you throw it, and a little detonator shows up. But if you hit the button again, if you hit 6 again, to holster it or to load it, you get another pipe bomb. So you can throw like multiple pipe bombs.
Yeah.
And then but all one detonator.
Yeah.
So what I would do is when I was playing with Tim like in multiplayer, I would fill every room with at least 4 pipe bombs. And there were like probably 15 or 20 rooms. And then I go out into the middle of the city, then hit it. And the game would just crash. Or see how many pipe bombs I could detonate before the game couldn't handle it. Because it's just like, they all had to render, all those individual pipe bombs had to render a sound, an explosion, and an effect around the environment, and like, ruined. I crashed an N64 version of Duke Nukem 3D with that same effect. Well, I'm like, this isn't supposed to crash. This is a console game.
Yeah, like it's
It went. No, it was GoldenEye. I'm sorry. We did remote mines. And we filled the room with remote mines. He went. Deep. And then it never came. And we were like, uh-oh.
You can see that shit happening when like 3 goes.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Slow down. You're like, is it gonna make it?
Here we go. Okay, good.
So yeah, if you did 20, I can imagine.
It was We filled the whole bottom level in GoldenEye with remote mines. So yeah, video games. So yes, check out bonus round on our channel. Check out previous episode of Back Issues. We will not be doing many more. We will if we ever do another Todd McFarlane related book again, it will be in a year or 2. Like we won't be doing any more Todd McFarlane.
That's
books.
enough.
That's enough Todd McFarlane. Because also like there's only so much you can say about the guy.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
He bought a bunch of record-breaking balls hit by Mark McGuire that are useless now. Like, and he also drew this shit, and he makes toys.
That'll do, Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
I actually met Todd McFarlane one time at a New York Comic Con. I was just walking the floor, as you do. It's like I had 3 days. I covered it the first day, and that's the day where I was wandering. I'm wandering the floor. I'm like checking out tables, and then I look down, and there's Todd McFarlane just sitting there at a table, and I'm like, hey man, Todd McFarlane, like you fucking drew Spawn. Like I read. He's like, hey, thanks a lot, buddy. And then I was gonna get him to sign something, but I didn't have anything to sign, so I was like, all right. And then I turn there's a line going around the show to get to him. I wandered right in front of the line, and Todd McFarlane was making him wait. And he was just like, oh, hey, a random person that wants to talk to me that isn't in this fucking line. Hello.
Well, I guess he was like, you don't want anything from me.
Yeah.
You just want to talk to
I was
me.
like, oh, shit, Todd McFarlane, I used to read all your fucking stupid comic books. I'm glad you paid for my house. Thank you. Yes, I did.
For you.
Yeah, and he didn't do that. No, he wasn't going to give me anything. No. He is, as far as he's concerned, he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, but it was.
You didn't wait in line.
What does he look like?
He is, he's actually not bad looking. He's Canadian. He has that, he has that accent.
Oh.
Yeah, and Todd McFarlane, a little bit. He's like, no, it's more like, hi, I'm Todd McFarlane.
Oh, okay.
Creator of Spawn. That's what he would say. He would open the Spawn cartoon show every day. Hey, I'm Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn.
You make him sound like he's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
imagining. He's like a thin, Paul Rudd-looking Wilford Brimley. He's like a Paul Rudd or thinner.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you wore acid wash denim.
Okay.
Because it was 91.
Mm.
I'm Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn. That show, he would wander in from the darkness and walk up next to a big screen TV with a still frame of Spawn on it, and then say, "Thanks for watching my cartoon show."
At least he's that.
Yeah. But yeah, so but anyway, I bet Todd McFarlane.
No more Todd McFarlane.
No more Todd McFarlane for a long time. We're starting. I think we're gonna do a Batman episode next Back Issues.
You
Works
think?
for me.
I think you are.
That's my plan. We were gonna do Batman last episode, but I didn't have a copy at the store. So. Oh, excuse me. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and we will see you Monday. And, of course, we'll see you on Back Issues on Thursday. So, thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
Both of you.
There's three.
Three of you. You three.
I don't know if one of them might be me.
Two.
Well, hey, thanks a lot for sticking around, guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah.
That was added an extra layer that I was really, really happy to get.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm Zoe's man on camera.
All right.
All right.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot. Okay.
Ethan, you gonna terminate it for us?